What's going on, folks? And thank you for tuning in with me to another edition of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast. And of course, I am your host, the man they call Ghost. And once again, folks, I want to thank you very much for tuning in with me. This is episode number 630. Episode number 630 on this Baller Friday edition of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast. And before we get into anything else, I'd like to remind everybody to please spread this show link around like wildfire and let everybody you know across the internet and throughout the world, let them all know that True Capitalist Radio is in effect and in the house. And we are live once again every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Texas Time, right here on the official website of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast. And once again, I love being independent now. Type this in your browser. Add this to your bookmarks. Add this to your favorites. The following, ghost.report. All right, it's as simple as that. That's all you got to type in your browser. Add it to your bookmarks, add it to your favorites, ghost.report. And of course, folks, if you want to go ahead and follow me on my only social media representation on the internet today, then go ahead and give me a follow on Gab, folks. And if you don't have yourself a free Gab account, well, then go ahead and get yourself one and follow me on there under the name Politics Ghost, okay? All one word, no underscores. Politics Ghost is the name to follow, okay? And I want to say what's going on to the True Capitalist Radio chat room, the inner circle, baby. What's going on? I've been in and out of the inner circle since I've been gone. That fat fucking broad. Anyway, I was in the inner circle, and I wanted to say that I had to take a little bit of a break once again from the show. You know, I want to be honest with you, folks. I've been trying to wean myself off this alcohol after, like I've said, it's not a secret. I've been drinking alcohol every day for the past 10 years. Just recently tried to cut back here about a couple of months back, maybe 3 months back, if you count maybe this week. And, it's a lot of things that I didn't anticipate. You think that, hey, look, I'm going to go ahead and quit this bad habit and everything's going to be great, everything's going to be all right, and, it's not all right, It's not all right. There's panic attacks, you're malnourished because, you've been drinking, and, drinking causes your goddamn glucose levels to go all over the place. A lot of crap. And there's a lot of side effects that I did not anticipate when trying to wean myself off of the alcohol. And look, I always said that I would be back. I just trying to clean myself out, and I've been fairly consistent, to say the least. I've been, trying to detoxify my body with some of these, fruits and vegetables. I mean, not that I'm becoming a freaking fruit bowl vegan or anything, but, just trying to detoxify the body with a little bit of fruits and vegetables. Putting more fruit and vegetable intake as opposed to fats and animals and things of that capacity. And I have to say that it has helped my internal organs, to say the least. It was definitely, for the past several weeks I've been doing this, it's definitely been detoxifying my body. So at this point in time, I'm just kind of unfortunately reaping the side effects that alcohol, when consumed habitually on a decade basis, does to your nervous system. It does a lot of things to your brain, does a lot of things to your physiological body in general that I didn't anticipate. So, that's literally why I did not show up on Wednesday, folks. I didn't feel like I was, mentally up to it. Unfortunately, with this side effects of, going cold turkey is what I'm doing. There's a lot of side effects that I did not anticipate. And unfortunately, a lot of those side effects happened on Wednesday. So I didn't, I didn't want to do a broadcast on Wednesday. But I am here today on a Baller Friday, and don't worry, folks, I'm okay. I've got beer, okay? Don't worry about it. All right, hey, it's going to be all right. I got beer now, all right? Anyway, look, I want to go ahead and say cheers first and foremost. I'm not drinking right now, okay? I don't want to be drunk during this broadcast. I've been trying to convey a decent image to folks that are listening to me, and the last thing I need is to be sloppy drunk on a Baller Friday broadcast when I'm trying to take this show into a serious direction. So I've got some high-quality H2O. I may be drinking later on in the True Capitalist Radio chat room after the broadcast. So if you happen to be a member of the True Capitalist Radio chat room, you're going to probably, be up and drinking with me if anybody's up. And I just want to say cheers first and foremost to everybody who's out there listening to the True Capitalist Radio broadcast. Happy Baller Friday to you. And for you folks that are new to the broadcast and asking yourself, what is Baller Friday? It's that day of the week, folks, in which we look back upon the week's labor, upon the week's wages, upon the week's salary, all the things that make you successful, you bask in them for the week. All the sweat, all the blood, all the tears, all the sacrifices, whatever it took, you bask in your success. And what we do on Baller Friday is take your best vice, your favorite vice, consume in it, bask in the success, because that's what capitalists do. So happy Baller Friday to everybody who's listening to the True Capitalist Radio broadcast. Cheers, baby, cheers. Now, that will be, I guarantee it, later on tonight, that'll be some beer, all right? And by the way, if you want to be a part of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast chat room, all you got to do is go to my Gab right now. Politics Ghost, all one word, no underscores. Politics Ghost is the name, and click the subscribe button for premium content, all right? Click the subscribe button for premium content, and once you do that, folks, all you got to do is private message me on Gab, and let me know your Discord chat name, because that's where the True Capitalist Radio chat room is located. Private message me on Gab. Let me know your Discord chat name, and I will give you a private invitation to the True Capitalist Radio chat room. It's that simple. Now, before we get into the financial portion of the broadcast, what I'd like to talk about today is a little bit of the Democratic mob that we are witnessing right before our very eyes. The inciting of violence by the Democrats themselves. This is not some fringe group. Lest we forget, in 2016, they tried to somehow group the whole entire right-wing political spectrum of America to these white nationalists, Ku Klux Klan, alt-right, or whatever it is, Nazis, whatever, even though there was a small fringe group that may have tried to identify themselves as right-wing of the political spectrum and are claiming Nazis or white supremacy or whatever the case might be. They tried to group us into this entire category. And when that failed, folks, they tried every trick in the book until now. You've got actual Democrats, people that are sitting in Congress, that are advocating violence on people of the right. And not just anybody, but our leaders. I mean, we all saw it with Brett Kavanaugh, folks. I mean, first of all, I can't believe that the American people almost fell for that ridiculous goof. And thank God there's enough people with enough common sense to realize that the Democrats could care less about sexual assault on women. The Democrats could care less about Blasey Ford. It was all an attempt to try to discredit the conservatism and the values of Brett Kavanaugh, so that they can somehow, I don't know, set a new moral standard that the Democrats can't even live up to themselves. I couldn't believe that I actually saw Democrats trying to reset the moral standard of what it takes to be a leader when they themselves could not even live up to that standard. And since when did Democrats become some kind of soapbox touting moral authority of anything? Well, then it continues from then on. You've got all these Democrats from Hillary Clinton, Eric Holder, Cory Booker, all these Democrat mouthpieces, of course. We all know Maxine Waters, the low IQ Maxine Waters over here. They're all advocating for violence. And no one is taking any kind of a stand in the media with the exception of Fox News. And I want to be honest with you, folks, the only reason Fox News still gives you any kind, and I'm not even saying they're perfect at all, They still have a mainstream media lens that they kind of, put the news through, if you want to know what I'm talking about. But the only reason that you get any kind of just glimpse of half-assed truth on there is because there's still one person in charge of Fox News at the end. It's Rupert Murdoch. Every other mainstream media outlet is owned by a conglomeration corporation. And what do I mean by that? It means that a corporation that owns not just the media outlet, a whole barrage of different corporate entities. So that's why it's very easy to manipulate the mainstream media when they're all owned by corporate conglomerates. And once again, the only reason that you ever hear any kind of half-assed truth from Fox is because and that's the only mainstream media that has one guy in charge still. But regardless, folks, nobody in the mainstream media is highlighting the fact that these Democrats are openly trying to call for violence. And then when violence happens, like recently, there was somebody in Nevada that was arrested accosting one of the Attorney General's aide out there, or something to that capacity. And this person that was arrested out there in Nevada had been harassing Devin Nunes. He had been harassing all kinds of different right-wing politicians. Went out and traveled to go see them. And nobody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about the left-wing mob, the Democratic mob that's out here accosting people that are of the right-wing political persuasion in America today. And this is very dangerous, folks, because really what this signifies is that the Democrats are all out of substance. They have nothing to fall back on politically, socially, or economically. That all they can do is advocate violence, because when there's violence, there's opportunity for the left. Lest we forget, every communist variant that has rose into a nation state spawned from chaos and war. I mean, lest we forget, in the Russian Revolution, when the czars were overthrown, they weren't overthrown by the Bolsheviks. They were overthrown by the democratic socialists. That's what ended the Tsar dynasty in Russia. And when the democratic socialists, when they took power in Russia, they had no idea what they were doing. They had no type of infrastructure. They had no way to be able to feed the people that they took control of. They had nothing. But a man named Vladimir Lenin, who was a devout communist, had laid the groundwork for 10 plus years, going from province to province, from village to village in Russia, creating some fictitious, ended up not being so fictitious after all, but these communist infrastructures and leaders from village to village. And folks, that's why when Vladimir Lenin, when he became the leader of Russia, he took power. He took power because he had control, he had an infrastructure in place, he had a methodology, he also had the military on his side. Chaos breeds opportunity for communists. Lest we forget, the communists that took over China, Mao Zedong. Mao Zedong took an advantage of a chaotic situation in China. Lest we forget that in China, World War II time, it was invaded by Japan. And the leader of China at the time, which was the Chinese nationalist Chiang Kai-shek, had to literally fend off the invasion of Japan. And in the midst of Chiang Kai-shek's troops fending off the invasion of Japan, you had the communists taking advantage and flanking both of these entities while they were fighting each other. And that's how the communists took control of China. I can go on and on, folks. That's what makes the Democrats' open call for violence so goddamn serious. And that's why I'm advocating to each and every one of you that are of the right-wing political persuasion to practice your fucking Second Amendment and get as many guns as you possibly can, because just in case these morons decide to have some kind of coordinated situation, and look, I want to be honest with you, I'm not trying to give anybody any kind of advice here, but it's not that hard. It's not that hard. If somebody or a group was wanting to do something as serious as this, I don't think it'd be that hard to cause enough chaos in metropolises all over the country to cause a civil unrest situation. And that's exactly what the Democrats are doing. Now, I know there's people on the left that are going to ask me, well, Ghost, what does the Democrats, what do they have? What's in their favor if they go this direction? What do they have to their advantage if they are inspiring the violence? Because, folks, look at what they've been fomenting for the past 2 years when it came to Trump. They've been fomenting that Trump, he's anti-American, he's for the Russians, he's anti-woman, he's anti-gay, all this galvanizing bunch of rhetorical nonsense. And it's been brewing and brewing and brewing. Oh, Trump's a Nazi. Oh, Trump's a dictator. We just had that fat pig, Rosie O'Donnell, on CNN yesterday calling for the military to go in and remove Donald Trump. I mean, this is the kind of disgusting crap that these Democrats have fomented. And let's just say, God forbid, that these Democrats coordinate an effort. Because, look, I want to be honest with you folks. You all remember when that one black fellow out there in Dallas decided to take his fully automatic weapon, and this was an ex-military guy. Always goes back to the military, FBI, Homeland Security, CIA, doesn't it? Anyway, besides the point. Ex-military guy takes his rifle and starts sniping everybody out there, literally taking the streets, killing cops. You remember that footage of that one cop that was, behind a pillar, and having a shootout with this freak. And, that guy who was with the fully automatic weapon had the training of the U.S. military and understood how to outflank him and shot him in cold blood. Now, that was one guy. You notice that they had to shut down downtown Dallas, and that, they couldn't even touch this guy. Remember, they had to send in a robot to kill this black guy, okay? I'm just trying to make a point here that Dallas is a big fucking city. They got a lot of police, and you mean to tell me that one black guy with a fully automatic weapon could go out there and not only kill cops, but shut down the downtown area of Dallas? Just imagine if that was a coordinated attack by just 10 fully motivated communists that go out there and try to cause such a chaotic situation. And just say that it's coordinated in an effort in which metropolises all over the world. Because remember, that's all you need. The communists are not stupid. They know that the power are in the cities. And if they can take control of the cities, they control the country. That's what Vladimir Lenin did. If you control the cities, you control the country. And if you can have coordinated efforts of attack like I just described to you in 5, 10 major cities, folks, you got yourself a serious situation. Now, what is the federal government going to do under Trump? Trump's going to do what the Democrats or these communists, these leftists that conspire to do this, they're going to do, Trump is going to do what the left wants them to do. They want them to bring in the troops, bring in National Guard, bring in the military to quash the uprising. And it's at that point that the left and the Democrats will point to Trump and say, see, I told you, he's a dictator, he's a totalitarian, he's a Nazi, he's using the military the military are in the streets. I can see it now. I can see it right now, and that's why I am warning each and every one of you that you folks need to realize that this can go very, very badly, very fast. and the type of violence that is being openly advocated by people that are supposed to be representing our country in Washington, D.C. are advocating violence. And I'm telling you this right now, folks, it's not that hard. If there's enough people that are dedicated and motivated, I mean, look at what one black guy with a fucking fully automatic weapon did to downtown Dallas. You remember that? That's why I keep bringing it up. That's why whenever I talk about anything that looks like a false flag, remember I always tell you about whenever it looks like a false flag, for instance, the Pulse nightclub shooting and all these mass shootings. You want to know why? If it was truly a mass shooting, you wouldn't have a perimeter of cops hanging out, laughing. Don't you always see that during these so-called mass shootings? You always see a perimeter of cops hanging out. There's no sense of urgency, nothing. They're all hanging out. They're talking about the beer they're going to be drinking or the donuts they're going to be hogging or whatever. You don't see the kinds of episode that you saw with that rogue black guy in Dallas. And look, that footage of that Dallas shooting is online now. Look at it. One guy caused it. They shut down the entire Dallas downtown fucking area, for Christ's sake. One guy. And then you got these people fomenting violence at the highest levels of the Democratic Party. I mean, folks, something has got to give. Something has got to give. Now, thank God, we've got the Cubanos down there in Miami that went to go pay Nancy Pelosi, plastic-faced Pelosi, a visit. Let me go ahead and repost this on my Gab right now. Take a look at my Gab. The Cubanos out there, I'm talking the Cuban Americans, thank God they still exist and they hate communism as much as I do. They confronted Nancy Plastic-Face Pelosi as she was approaching some kind of an event that she was going to campaign for whatever leftist bureaucrat out there in Miami. They confronted her and say, look at this piece of shit, Pelosi. You're a communist. You're a communist. And you see, this is what we're going to have to do if we, on the right, are going to prevent any kind of attempt at civil unrest. We've got to go out there and get in their faces. We got to go out there and confront these pieces of crap. We got to be ready. I mean, I give much props to Gavin McInnes. I've never been no fan of Gavin McInnes, but I'll tell you, he's got some money, and luckily he has funded and backed up this idea and this group called the Proud Boys. And if you haven't heard of the Proud Boys, you've been probably living under a rock, because they've recently been blamed for kicking the crap out of Antifa here recently in New York, when it was Antifa doing damage to the damn Republican club that was out there. But that's beside the point. The point is that the Proud Boys, if you do some YouTube searches for the Proud Boys, they're out there kicking Antifa's ass. And you know what? The cops ain't going up to them. You want to know why? Because Antifa hate cops, remember? So go out there and kick the crap out of Antifa, for Christ's sake. I mean, the damn Democrats are advocating violence, for Christ's sake. Maxine Waters says don't let them go to no gas station. Don't let them go into a shopping center. Don't let them go nowhere. You get in their face, baby. You get right in their face. You have Cory Booker. You got to get in some of these guys' faces. You got Eric Holder. Eric Holder. When they're down, kick them. When they go low, kick them. I mean, these are people that were a part of our government that are advocating violence, for Christ's sake. Does nobody see anything wrong with that, right or left? Good God. Anyway, folks, look, I don't mean to get off keister here, but seriously, man, I mean, what's the end goal of this? What's the end goal of Democrats advocating violence? What's the end goal? The only end goal is what I just described to you for the past 10 to 15 minutes. That's the end goal. That's why they are advocating violence. That's why. And those of us on the right, we got to be ready for it, man. We got to be ready for it. And we better not let anybody touch our families, our property, our communities. You know, look, let me tell you something, folks. It's if you're a property owner, if you have a house, if you belong to a community, it's too goddamn late in the game of sociology at this point to be hateful to your neighbors, because in a time and look, it doesn't necessarily have to be leftist uprising. It could be a natural disaster. It could be a bunch of things in which your neighbor may need your help and you may need your neighbor's help. And you can't do this. You can't hate neighbors anymore. We got to go talk to each other. We got to protect each other. You understand? I mean, we're all we have. American people is all we have at this point in time. Because if we don't take care of each other, no one is. No one in the world is going to give any kind of two craps about us. As a matter of fact, the Democrats, the reason why they're advocating violence, the reason why they're anti-Trump, the reason why they are the resistance, the reason why they're the Democrat mob is because they hate America. I heard an interview with Rush Limbaugh. Rush Limbaugh gets it, man. I heard it with Sean Hannity the other day, or yesterday, I should say. He gets it. He understands that this Democratic Party is anti-American. They hate America. It's what I've been saying for the longest time. They hate America. They don't believe America should be a superpower. They don't believe America should be economically prosperous. They don't believe in America they don't believe in this crap. They think that we're the problem in the world today. That's what these Democrats think. And the proof is in what they advocate for. What do they advocate for? Open borders, illegal immigrants, criminals, and the sexualization of children. And I'm telling you, folks, that's what they advocate. That's what they get on the damn boob tube for. That's what they go and make sure there's a spotlight on them for. You know it and I know it. So anyway, before I get any more into this soliloquy, I am just telling each and every one of you, it is time to start recognizing that these Democrats are not advocating violence because they're just playing around. They're not advocating violence because they're just, doing it tongue-in-cheek. They're advocating violence because they want a chaotic situation to unfold in which it gives them the opportunity to usurp power. That's all it comes down to, folks. That's what happens every time with these fucking leftists, and I'm tired of it. I'm tired of these freaking leftists. They are a disease, as far as I'm concerned, that need to be systematically removed like a goddamn tumor. Like a cockroach, or a rodent, or vermin. I'm serious. We gotta just fucking root these goddamn leftist pieces of garbage out. It's lunacy. And another thing that Rush Limbaugh said in the Sean Hannity interview that I've been saying for a long time was that the majority of the people who actually embrace the left in modern day America are people that are just completely mentally off. These are people that are popping the psychotropic drugs. These are the people that are going to the psychiatrists and the psychologists. Where do you think we get all this stupid political correct crap from? Where do you think we get these stupid terms from? Triggering. Where the fuck do you think that came from? The psychologist, the psychiatrist. And folks, I'm telling you right now, I have witnessed it firsthand. Once you take psychotropic drugs, you are never the way you were ever again. You are never. They have rewired your damn brain through some chemicals. And that's why, folks, you always hear when it comes to a psychotropic drug, these weird side effects. That you may kill yourself even though you're supposed to be taking the drug to prevent yourself from committing suicide. I know there's one psychotropic drug that a side effect could be compulsive gambling. Compulsive gambling? I mean, folks, that's what I keep telling you. In my opinion, this is why what we would have recognized 20 years ago as abnormal is now becoming the normal. Because we have people that have been bombed out of their minds with chemicals and psychotropic drugs that they believe that the abnormal is normal. And a lot of these folks actually believe that the more abnormal you are, it makes you special, the more special in society. It's a very warped mentality. It is a pussy-pampered, pussy-whipped society. And that's why you have all these people wanting to go on the side of the Democrats, because they want their safe spaces, they want regulated speech, they want the state to do all these things that have been advocated and pussy-pampered in their lives. They want to be pushed on the world. And look, like I said, if you have not seen Rush Limbaugh's interview with Sean Hannity, I strongly advise you to listen to it. He is absolutely right. He's as if he'd been listening to me for fucking 10 years. I'm serious. I mean, even Rush Limbaugh has, you know, he's saying what I'm saying verbatim when it comes to the Khashoggi situation, but we're going to get to the Khashoggi situation in a minute. Anyway, let me move on, folks. I know I'm going on this soliloquy on this Baller Friday, but it has to be said, for Christ's sake. It has to be said. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about cryptocurrency. Excuse me. And let me be honest with you. We are seeing a contraction here, folks. But the good part about this contraction is we're seeing resistance at $207 billion in market capitalization. I mean, it's been some time we've seen anything below $200 billion. And I think a lot of that has to do with the slow integration with institutional stock investors with crypto investors. I announced earlier this week, or last week possibly, that Fidelity, the investment firm, Fidelity Investments, is integrating a cryptocurrency component in their trading platform. And that's just the beginning. We're already seeing Robinhood roll that out, in which you could trade crypto for fiat, crypto for stocks, stocks for fiat, stocks for crypto. And the more and more institutional investors come aboard in that capacity, that's when we're going to see a more and more increase. And remember, folks, as I've stated many times, cryptocurrency is a global situation. It is a global market. For these are not equities. These are currencies. And currencies never stop trading. If you've ever been into the Forex market, which is trading fiat currencies, you realize that you can't sleep if you're trading Forex, because literally money never sleeps. And when you're asleep, you could be going down majorly without you even knowing about it. And my point is that the more and more people in the world not just get into cryptocurrency, but start using it as a means of obtaining goods and services, that's when we're going to see the market cap go from this measly $208 billion right now is the current market cap, $208 billion to multi-trillions. Multi-trillions. So I'm telling everybody right now, this is just the beginning. Long-term investment reigns supreme, especially if you're a young person. This is what you're going to want to hold on to right now, especially at these prices. I would not advise anybody right now to go into the stock market. And the reason I'm saying that is, first of all, I think that we're starting to see a top at about, remember, we can't get above and around that 26,000 mark. And we've got the Federal Reserve raising interest rates. They just talked about it in their Fed minutes that were released on Wednesday. I don't know if you saw it. The Fed minutes, they're talking about putting interest rates at astronomical levels. That's why you got the president coming out against the Federal Reserve. That's why you even got the mainstream business media calling out the Federal Reserve. You know, that asshole Kramer, he's out there, you know, when he's pumping and dumping his stocks, like, hey, Federal Reserve, you're going to fuck up the economy. What are you doing? Yeah, no kidding. This is what I've been saying ever since this broadcast was introduced, ever since 2017, let's put it that way. I've been saying that since 2017. Anyway, folks, let me go ahead and get to some cryptocurrency coverage here. Let me go ahead and get some high-quality H2O first. All right. Bitcoin. Let's get to Bitcoin. BTC. Market cap right now is $112 billion market cap. Circulating supply is 17.3 million in circulation. In the past 24 hours, Bitcoin has gone down, 0.17% decrease. Current price for Bitcoin is $6,465.41 per Bitcoin. That's pretty low right there, if I don't say so myself. Let's get to ETH, Ethereum. Market capitalization is $20 billion. Circulating supply is 102 million in circulation for ETH. In the past 24 hours, Ethereum has gone up 0.15%. Current price for Ethereum, $203.66 per Ethereum. Let's get to Bitcoin Cash. It went down considerably. It is down, but I don't think it's out. Once again, I like Bitcoin Cash for at least for the next couple of years at this point in time. But because everywhere Bitcoin is accepted, Bitcoin Cash is accepted. So very interesting. That's why, remember, aside from acceptance, which makes a lot of these cryptocurrencies valuable, the value of crypto is in the technology, and we're going to talk about that in a minute, all right? Bitcoin Cash, BCH, market cap is $7.6 billion market capitalization. The circulating supply for Bitcoin Cash is 17.4 million in circulation. In the past 24 hours, Bitcoin Cash has gone up 0.80%. Current price for Bitcoin Cash, $440.88 per Bitcoin Cash. Let's get to Litecoin, shall we? LTC, market cap is $3.1 billion market capitalization. The circulating supply is 58 million in circulation. In the past 24 hours, Litecoin has gone up 1.11% increase. Current price for Litecoin, folks, is $53.08 per Litecoin. Let's get to Monero, folks. Once again, I like it because it likes to run, shorten pattern term trading play. And moreover, folks, it is accepted widely in the deep web. So that creates some level of market, like I've always said, excuse me. Let's take a look at the Monero coin. XMR is the symbol, XMR. Current market capitalization is $1.7 billion market cap. Circulating supply is 16.4 million in circulation. In the past 24 hours, Monero has gone up 0.88%. Current price for Monero is $103.79 per Monero. Let's get to Dash, folks. DASH is the symbol for Dash. Market capitalization. Oh, yeah, before I get to anything else, folks, if you have not got a Dash contract from Genesis-mining.com, I would get one right now. They're on sale, for Christ's sake. Let me go ahead and repost it on my Gab. Check out my Gab if you need the link for Genesis-mining.com. They're on sale, for Christ's sake. I'm looking at it right now. They're 25% off. You can get a 3,000 megahash Dash mining contract right now for $76. I mean, come on, man. I'm just saying. And then, of course, you've got the other tiers. I think the mid-tier is probably the best one for $742.50 for 30,000 megahash, especially at these Dash prices, folks. I keep telling you. And Dash is widely accepted. It's widely accepted in the South American region, widely accepted where most places take Bitcoin as well. So once again, DASH Dash is the thing to mine on Genesis-mining.com. And take a look at my Gab right now if you need the link. And by the way, if you're going to entertain a mining contract, you got to use the discount code, baby. Everybody's got to use the discount code. The discount code, of course, folks, for Genesis-mining.com is WEA296. All right, discount code for Genesis-mining.com, WEA296. All right, now that we got that out of the way, folks, remember, I'm just trying to do this because I just want people to capitalize, baby. I want people to capitalize. Anyway, let's get to Dash. DASH is the symbol. Market capitalization, $1.2 billion market cap. The circulating supply, once again, very, very low, 8.3 million. That's it. 8.3 million in circulation. In the past 24 hours, it has gone down slightly, 1%. Current price for Dash, $153.05 per Dash. Let's go ahead and get to Ethereum Classic. ETC is the symbol, Ethereum Classic. Market capitalization is $1 billion market cap. Circulating supply is 105 million in circulation. In the past 24 hours, we've seen Ethereum Classic go up slightly, 0.14% increase. Current price for Ethereum Classic, $9.60 per Ethereum Classic. Let's get to Zcash, folks. You know I like Zcash. ZEC, market capitalization is $607 million market cap. The circulating supply just broke 5 million. 5 million ZEC, Zcash in circulation. In the past 24 hours, Zcash has gone up 1.32%. Current price for Zcash is $120.20 per Zcash. Now, folks, what did I tell you all about 0x, symbol ZRX? I told you, baby, that this damn thing looks like it's going on the same trajectory as EOS did back last year. And there's a lot more going for ZRX, in my opinion. Once again, it was just listed on Coinbase, first and foremost. And secondly, Coinbase had acquired an exchange that utilized 0x's technology as a means to run the exchange. So there's a lot of future, in my opinion, for 0x. I was telling everybody, hey, look, take a look at this one back in the day, and I've been telling everybody, the reason I keep covering it is because it's a long-term investment. I mean, me and the Inner Circle got in on this when it was 35 cents, baby. All right, now, I think that this is going way over $1. I think, like I said, if you take a look at the charts of EOS, which I do not advocate for, but if you take a look at those charts, compare it to 0x, I think that the trajectory looks eerily similar. So anyway, 0x has been up and down, but mostly up here in the past several days. Let's take a look at it. ZRX, current market cap is $494 million market capitalization. The circulating supply is 542 million in circulation. In the past 24 hours, 0x has gone up 5%, baby. 5%. Current price for 0x, ZRX, 91 cents. We saw it go up over $1 a couple of days ago, baby. And I'm telling you, I'm long. I've got a good chunk of this. I've had a good chunk of this. 0x. Let me take a sip of some more H2O here. All right, let's move on to Quantum. Now, folks, you better get in on Quantum while Quantum's hot. Because, folks, if you've been following the news or following my gab, Quantum, folks, all right, Quantum has come to a partnership, has made a deal with Amazon Web Services in China. All right, now that's, what did I tell you? What did I tell you? Now, Amazon is obviously signing a deal with Quantum. QTUM is the symbol, folks. QTUM is the symbol. They're obviously signing a deal and rolling it out in China because, as I've stated, folks, out there in Asia, they are like 5 years ahead of us when it comes to cryptocurrency. Many of the Asian countries are already accepting it as a means of exchanging goods and services. So Amazon is it's going to roll out the Quantum QTUM cryptocurrency with its Amazon Web Services out there in China. And once it rolls it out there as a beta, you can only imagine that it's going to extend QTUM into other business models within the Amazon framework. All right? And remember, Jeff Bezos isn't stupid. I mean, lest we forget that Jeff Bezos would attend a lot of these cryptocurrency conventions back when cryptocurrency was at its infancy, like in 2010, 11, and 12. Bezos, the guy who owns Amazon. So this guy's not stupid when it comes to cryptocurrency. I'm telling you, why did I keep saying that QTUM is a long-term investment? Because of the technology, stupid! The technology, and even Bezos realizes it. So, folks, I'm telling you all right now, if you have not gotten in on QTUM, I think the prices ain't going to get any better than this, because I'm telling you, folks, I mean, just based on the technology alone, this damn fucking coin, QTUM, is going to be here for the next 10 years, minimum. Probably more than that now that they're a part of the Amazon group. All right, let's get to QTUM, all right? Market capitalization right now is $342 million market cap. The circulating supply is 88 million in circulation. In the past 24 hours, we've seen Quantum go up 1.41%. Current price for Quantum, QTUM is the symbol. It is $3.85. I mean, you can't get any goddamn cheaper than that on such a secure cryptocurrency investment. Good God! Come on, man! Come on, man! And by the way, let me get another cryptocurrency that I've been trying to tell people to entertain on this show. Remember Basic Attention Coin? I've been trying to tell people that this is another long-term investment, because aside from it being a currency, Basic Attention Coin created the web browser Brave. And they are going to integrate their cryptocurrency with their browser. And I'm telling you, folks, they've got some kind of future as it pertains to content creators. Because this coin is basically a blockchain to be able to allow content creators, independent content creators, to monetize their content. And it'll be integrated in the browser. There's no need to do anything. They're trying to make it easier for the average layman to be able to conduct themselves in this kind of economy that they're going to create. So I like Basic Attention Coin. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. Symbol BAT is the symbol. Market capitalization right now for Basic Attention Coin is $238 million in market capitalization. The circulating supply, 1 billion. 1 billion in circulation. In the past 24 hours, Basic Attention Coin has gone up 14.35%. Current price for Basic Attention Coin, folks, 23 cents, baby. 23 cents, and I think that could easily pair with the dollar very, very soon, especially if it's going to be integrated with some kind of content creator monetization process. All right. Anyway, look, we're running out of time here. Just looked at the damn time. I better hurry up and get the stock coverage on this goddamn Baller Friday here. Good God. Anyway, folks, let's take a look at the stocks. Stocks are mixed, to say the least. Of course, we're seeing some increase in the Dow Jones Industrial, because why? Good earnings. Good earnings, and obviously some very positive economic numbers coming out. So that's why we see a mixed bag in stocks today. Let's take a look at the Dow. It is up 64.89 points, a percentage increase of 0.26%, closing out the Dow at 25,444.34 points for the Dow Jones Industrial. We've got the S&P 500. It is down today 1 point, a percentage decrease of 0.04%. Closing out the S&P at 2,767.78 points for the S&P 500. We've got the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ is also down 36.11 points, a percentage decrease of 0.48%. Closing out the NASDAQ at 7,449.03 points for the NASDAQ Composite. Now, look, remember, folks, the NASDAQ, I mean, wasn't it at 8,000 recently? We're down to 7,400 in a NASDAQ Composite. What did I tell you about tech, baby? That's all I'm saying. Remember, I said that a long time ago. All you people that have been listening to me, I said it. Watch tech. And what did I use as an example for watching tech? Snapchat. Oh, remember, everybody was circle jerking over Snapchat's IPO, for Christ's sake. And I was the only person saying, hey, wait a minute. Who cares? I mean, how is Snapchat going to sustain this type of profitability? What, selling filters for morons? Get the hell out of here. And for you folks that don't understand what I mean, I'm talking about those stupid picture filters that... Who cares? Anyway, let's move on to the commodities, folks, all right? I'm just saying, look, making money is what I do. I'm a capitalist. I'm a capitalist, and I love it. And I love celebrating it on a Bowler Friday, too. Anyway, let me get to the goddamn energy, for Christ. I got a lot of energy today, all right? It's good. It's good. I've been needing more energy, for Christ's sake. Eating all these fucking twigs and fruits and shit ain't doing shit. It's pissing me off. I'm glad it's cleaning out my organs, for Christ's sake. But I feel like a fucking weak pussy vegan, for Christ's sake. Anyway, look, let's get to energy. I'm sorry, I'm going off keister here. Let's get to WTI sweet crude, folks. Now, we did see a decrease in WTI sweet crude. All right, now, a lot of that has to do with the fact that... this Saudi situation, and I'm sure they're doing a little bit upping production because of the Khashoggi and the bad press and all that nonsense. But either way, we had seen a come down from WTI, so let's take a look at it. It is up right now 47 cents, a percentage increase of 0.68%. Current price for WTI sweet crude is $69.12 per barrel of WTI sweet crude. Brent crude, it is up 49 cents today, a percentage increase of 0.62%. Current price for Brent crude is $79.78 per barrel of Brent crude oil. So as you can see, it's gone down. But lest we forget, folks, the indicator of true prices for these energy prices, in my opinion, comes down to the gasoline futures. And the gasoline futures say that we're going to continue to see some upward trends towards the energy sector. Right now, gasoline is up 1.21%. We've got natural gas up 1.63%. And look, folks, I'm telling you, heating oil, we're going to start seeing it. Heating oil is up 0.31%. Let's go ahead and get to the metals, shall we? The metals! Let's get to the goddamn metals. We've got gold. It is down today, $1.40. A percentage decrease of 0.11%, closing out gold at $1,228.70 per troy ounce of gold. I don't like that, baby. I remember we were down to like, what, 1,109 or something like that. I don't like to see gold $1,228, man. Come on, man. Look, like I said, we will truly know that we're in a good economy again once we start seeing black guys wearing gold teeth and chains again. I'm not joking. That is a great litmus test to know if we're living in a good economy when we see black guys with the gold grills and the big fat chains and shit like that. But then again, I don't know. Black guys they're changing. They're getting a little fruity or something. I don't know. I mean, black guys now, I were reading, they're fucking paying like $300 for a belt. Yet, they don't even own their own home. They're living off grandma's couch and shit. I don't know. Maybe I don't know what it's like to be black in America. I don't know. Anyway, silver, it is up a nickel today. A percentage increase of 0.31%. Current price for silver is $14.65 per troy ounce of silver. Copper is up today, 1.15% increase. We got platinum up 0.38% increase. Let's continue. Let's go on with the agriculture. Let's take a look at the agricultural prices today. Let me take another swig of some high-quality H2O here. All right, we got grains. Corn is down today, 1.10% decrease for corn. Wheat is up 0.34%. Oats is unchanged today. Rough rice is up 0.54%. Soybean is down 0.78%. Soybean oil is up 0.41%. Canola is up 0.96%. Let's go ahead and take a look at the soft, shall we? Now, cocoa, it is up, but I don't know if anybody has kept up to date with the Ebola. Ebola. That's right, folks. Ebola in Africa. It is one of the biggest kept secrets out here in the media. Once again, it is broken loose out there in Africa, and the reason that the media isn't covering it is, from what I understand, that the Africans out there, they don't want American scientists around the area of Ebola. It makes you wonder why, huh? It's because we put it out there, if you want my opinion. Anyway, look, let's just move on. When I say we, I'm not talking about the American government. I'm talking about Americans or people claiming to be Americans, all right? I'm talking about, just saying in my opinion, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. All these, biologists that are playing God out there with these poor people. I mean, give me a break. Anyway, that's what's happening out there. And look, if the Ebola situation gets out of hand, you better make sure to take a look at cocoa, because cocoa is going to go up the roof. It's already been going up the roof since then. It's still somewhat going up. It is up 0.79% today. Let's get to coffee. Coffee is also up 0.04% today. We've got sugar. Sugar is up 0.14% today. Orange juice is down 1.58%. Nobody drinks orange juice anymore, man. Orange juice is good for you, man. A little sugary, but I mean, I like to mix it with tequila. Anyway, we got cotton. Cotton is down 0.17%. We've got lumber. It is up 0.80%. And why did I say lumber was going to be up? I mean, as sad as it is to say, folks, we're going to have to rebuild some parts of America because of these natural disasters. And these are the kinds of plays that you got to entertain as a capitalist, because, lumber is going to be in demand. Probably going to need some heavy machinery so you can invest in that capacity for the short term, etc. Let's take a look at rubber. Rubber is down 0.18%. Ethanol is down 0.23%. All right, I'm thirsty as hell. I think I had too much salt today, but you can never have too much salt as long as it's not table salt. And by the way, did you all see that report that came out yesterday? That table salt is mostly small plastic beads and shit. I told you all, don't eat table salt, all right? It's got glass, it's got sand. They're admitting it's got plastic particles in it. Sea salt is where it's at, all right? I'm just saying. And make sure it's iodine in the sea salt, iodized. All right? I'm just saying, man, we're not getting enough of it. You're probably going to find yourself a little sharper once you start taking salt with iodine in it. Sea salt, not table salt. All right? I'm just saying, look, I just want to keep people healthy, all right? Anyway, ethanol is also down 0.23%. Let's go ahead and get to livestock now. We're headed down towards the holidays. And I like seeing the negative numbers that I'm witnessing in the livestock, because who doesn't want an expensive beef, man? I mean, I want these big-ass fucking rib roasts, that I gotta roast, it's meant for like 10 people, but it's only gonna be for me kind of shit, you know what I mean? I want a big fucking rib roast. I want porterhouses. I want it all. All right, and I want it for the holidays. All right, I don't want a turkey for the holidays. All right, fuck you Indians. All right, no offense to the Cherokees. I'm talking about Pocahontas, Elizabeth Warren, and her tribe. Okay, no offense to the other Apaches and all that. I'm talking about Elizabeth Warren. We ain't eating turkey. All right, I'm eating steak. I'm eating a fat, bloody, juicy steak. That's what I'm eating for Thanksgiving. And you know who I'm going to thank for it? Me. Who put all this thing together? Me. Who do I trust? Me. That's who. Anyway, let me move on, for Christ's sake. Live cattle, all right? Live cattle is down today in livestock, down 0.34%. We got cattle feeder. It is also down, folks, 0.45%. And if, lean hogs, it looks like the lean hogs are finally coming down. I wouldn't mind having me a little bit of a pork butt. All right, we got lean hog. It is down 1.34% decrease on the day. And that, my friends, is the markets for your ass. All right? Now that we've concluded with the market portion of the broadcast, let's go ahead and continue here as we approach the next hour into some straight political dope that this goddamn broadcast is known for. All right? Let's get in it. Let's get down, baby. Anyway, we are now in the second hour of the True Capitalist radio broadcast. And of course, I am your host, the man they call Ghost. And once again, folks, I want to thank everybody for tuning in with me. Before we get started, I'd like to ask everybody to please spread this show link around like wildfire and let everybody you know across the internets and throughout the world, let them all know that True Capitalist Radio is in effect and in the house. And we are live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Texas U.S. time, right here on the official website of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast. And once again, I love being independent now. That's right, folks. Go ahead and add this to your bookmarks, add this to your favorites. And by the way, type it in your browser right now, the following. Ghost.report, all right? Ghost.report is the official website of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast. Make sure to spread that throughout all over the fucking place, all right? Excuse my French, but who gives a crap? It's Baller Friday. And by the way, if you want to follow me on my only social media representation on the internet today, and that's on Gab, folks. If you don't got yourself a free Gab account, well, then get yourself one, and you can follow me there under the name Politics Ghost, okay? All one word, no underscores. Politics Ghost is the name to follow on Gab. And by the way, I want to say what's going on to the True Capitalist Radio chat room, baby. What's going on? Hey, I'm going to be in the True Capitalist Radio chat room after the broadcast, and I'm going to be guzzling down beers, for Christ's sake, all right? That's right, I want more beer! And by the way, if you want to come chill with us tonight in the True Capitalist Radio chat room, then all you've got to do is the following, okay? Go to my Gab account right now, Politics Ghost, all one word, no underscores, Politics Ghost, and click the subscribe button for premium content, all right? Click the subscribe button for premium content, and once you do, go ahead and private message me on Gab, and let me know your Discord chat name, and I will private message you back on Gab, and give you a private invitation to the True Capitalist Radio chat room. It's that damn simple. And by the way, let me go ahead and give some props to the True Capitalist Radio chat room chilling with me on this Baller Friday. What's going on, Stagio? What's going on to Pepe the Frog, Nat, Metaform, Ice Cap in the house, Holden Capitalist, Herb Capitalist, Hawk Light Milk. We got Billy Cossack. We got TN Apostle, Hoodie in the place. We got Hans Uberlander. We got Distilling in the house. Congratulations on Distilling. What's going on to everybody? Bro Dog. What's going on to everybody out there who's listening to the True Capitalist Radio chat room? I will be in there after this broadcast once again, guzzling down beers like it's going out of style, all right? Anyway, let's go ahead and get to the straight political dope portion of the broadcast. Let's talk about the President of the United States, the modern-day George Washington himself. I'm talking about Donald Trump. The President continues to rally on, baby. He's rallying on, baby. I mean, he had a damn a rally yesterday in Missoula, Montana last night. And tonight, he's currently having a event right now in Mesa, Arizona tonight. And he's just going to continue on. He's going to continue on because the president wants to put a point of emphasis to everybody who's listening out there in America that this midterm election is dead serious. It is important. That's why this broadcast took a direction more towards the serious, because this midterm can make or break Donald Trump at this point in time. And what do I mean by make or break? If we get a big red wave, that means the entire Make America Great Again policies will be able to come to fruition without any kind of opposition, whether it be from Democrats or these goddamn rhino Republicans like Jeff Flake and John Turncoat Songbird, Tokyo Rose McCain. We'll be able to fulfill those damn Make America Great Again policies that were advocated in 2016. But if for some reason we get a blue wave going on, you better believe that there's going to be nothing going on in Washington instead of impeachments, investigations, and all kinds of nonsense. That's all the Democrats are running on. That's all they are running on. And you know what boggles my mind is that the new policy that they're emphasizing as far as the Democrats are concerned, the new policy is health care. And let me tell you, if you are going to vote for the Democrats on health care, then you're a complete idiot. Then you need to be put into a loony bin, for Christ's sake. The whole reason why we're in the precarious situation in health care is because of the Democrats, you morons. The Democrats voted a monopoly over your health by the insurance companies. I mean, do you understand that, folks? And I look, if you haven't listened to last Friday's broadcast, I strongly advise you to listen to it. I talked about why we shouldn't be advocating for more health care. We should be advocating for knowledge of nutrition and how to make our bodies healthy. We need to start letting people know that the reason that we're getting all these ailments is because we are a malnourished society. And why are we malnourished, folks? Well, there's a lot of reasons why. Just take a look at all the vast amounts of fast food locations all across this land. We're eating genetically modified foods. I mean, have you heard, folks? They're going to introduce artificial meat into your supermarket soon. Have y'all seen that? Huh? Y'all haven't seen that? Go YouTube that for yourself. Artificial meat, huh? This is what I'm talking about, folks. If you, as a Democrat, are voting based on health care, y'all were in charge, you morons, for almost goddamn 8 years. And all you did, you didn't give any health to anybody. You gave a monopoly over the health of America to the insurance companies. And that's why, folks, ever since Obamacare, we have seen nothing but America get sicker. We have seen the decline of the rate at which we live in this America. You know that? The mortality rate has gone down 3 years, 4 years in a row. All right, this is all because of Obamacare being implemented. So if you're a Democrat and you are going to vote based on health care, you're an idiot. You're a moron. You should have your voting rights stripped away because you don't know your ass from your elbow, for Christ's sake. But back to the president. He is in Mesa, Arizona, the nuclear waste dump known as Arizona, that brought us the likes of Jeff Flake and John Turncoat McCain. But he's going to be campaigning for the candidate that is running for Jeff Flake's open seat, because Jeff Flake did not run for re-election this year, and that is Martha McSally. Martha McSally is the senator that we want in Arizona that will be voting pro-Trump, that will be helping to facilitate the Make America Great Again policies into reality. And I'm telling you, man, this is a serious election. We cannot allow a blue wave to transpire in this election, man. Everything that we all did in 2016 will be for naught if the Democrats take any kind of control of House or the Senate. We cannot allow it to happen. We can't. I mean, you hear all these Democrats that if they take the House, they're going right at impeachment for Donald Trump. And impeach him for what? Impeach him for what? Making the great economy, for Christ's sake, that we have today? Impeach him for what? Impeach him for the lowest unemployment for blacks and Hispanics in American history? Impeach him because he's America first? Impeach him because he's renegotiating the trade deals with other countries that have been ripping us off for fucking years? Impeach him for what? Donald Trump has been the most pro-American president in my lifetime. Probably in American history since fucking George Washington, for Christ's sake. And you mean to tell me that these Democrats, that's what they're running on, is impeachment? This is why, folks, this is why the 2018 midterms are fucking important. I hope that you take them serious, for Christ's sake. I hope you take them serious. I hope you take it serious, for Christ's sake. Anyway, in the last Trump rally yesterday in Missoula, Montana, President Trump called out this caravan of Hondurans headed towards the U.S. border. It's an estimated, 4,000 plus people? 4,000 Hondurans making their way through Mexico and headed towards the U.S. border. What perfect timing, huh? What perfect timing. And by the way, by the time they get to the U.S. border, it'll be around the same time the midterms are happening. Huh? I mean, this is so goddamn predictable. It makes me sick. How can anybody continue to fall for this garbage? I mean, folks, who's feeding these people? You don't just trek across countries without having some level of sustenance like water and food. I mean, how are these people doing this? And I'm glad the president is calling it out. He even said in yesterday's rally that this is going to be the election of the caravan. He's calling it out now. This man is playing 4, 5, 6-dimensional chess. He knows what's about to happen. Because what did the Democrats implant in the brains a few months back? Oh, the immigrants, they're being separated from their children. The immigrants are being separated from their children. And guess what? The majority of those Hondurans have children with them. Huh? I mean, you can thank the Democrats for this humongous caravan that is being sustained by somebody. I mean, folks, just think about it for a second. These people are walking through countries. All right? They're walking through Honduras to Guatemala. Why they aren't staying in Guatemala is beyond me. And then they're going from there to Mexico. I heard this morning, or actually this afternoon, I should say, that this Honduran caravan has already rammed through the border of Mexico down there in the south of Mexico. So, folks, once again, I'm glad the president is calling out this Honduran caravan. Not only did he call it out, he said in the damn speech that this is being funded by somebody. I mean, only common sense will tell you that. If they had no food, if they had no water, they wouldn't even be able to make it through Guatemala, let alone walk all across Mexico into the United States border. How come nobody thinks about these types of things? This is a setup. And that's why I'm glad the president is emphasizing border security every time that he's doing one of these rallies. He has to. Because, folks, just like the president says, if we don't have a border, we don't have a country. And like I've told you, even in the beginning of this broadcast, the Democrats, they don't like America. They want to do whatever it takes to destroy America. That's why they want open borders. That's why they want illegal immigrants infesting our country. Because they want a whole new voting base that'll vote them in so that we're no longer a country anymore. I mean, folks, it's the truth, regardless of what you want to believe. We have people in office that have no loyalty to this country. Anyone hollering open borders, how can they have any kind of loyalty to this country of ours? And it's not like Donald Trump isn't saying that we're not going to accept people into the country, but we're not going to use this ridiculous immigration system of an immigration lottery system, chain migration. I mean, we should be letting people into the United States by not only merit, but whether or not they love this country, whether or not they're going to adapt to our way of life. I'm so sick of all these immigrants coming into our country, and we, as Americans, have to oblige their fucking nuances, whether it be cultural or religious. I'm sick and tired of listening to these goddamn Mumbukus around here. And if you don't know what Mumbukus are, that's what I call northern Africans that seem to be settling out here in San Hambonio, I see them at the grocery store. I see them at places I shop. You know, these Mumbukus, these Northern Africans, these Somalians, if you want me to be exact. Why do I have to adapt to their way of life? Why do I have to accept that they wear these stupid, ridiculous, head garbs and all this other crap? Why do I have to adapt to their, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and take a squat and take a shit right here in the middle of the parking lot? Why do I have to adapt to that? Why do Americans have to adapt to Yehudis, Muslims that come to our country, and we have to, we have to accept their hijab? We have to accept their turbans? We have to accept them praying 5 times a day? No! There's a separation between church and state. These fucking secularists, these Satanists, and these atheists use it against Christians all the time. How come we can't use it against these fucking Yehudis that think that we're just supposed to accept their culture, their religion, and all this other horse shit? That's what immigration reform's about. If anybody's going to come into our country, they're going to love our country. They're going to separate church from state. They're going to adapt to our way of life. And this is what this is a battle for, folks. It's a battle for our way of life, for Christ's sake. And that's what the leftists, that's what the Democrats want to destroy. They've already been successful in destroying a lot of American families out here in America. They've been successful destroying a lot of American families out here in America. I remember 10 years ago on this broadcast, when it was called True Conservative Radio, I said that single-parent families were the majority back then. And what that was going to assert, what that was going to implement, was the implementation of the pussification. The absolute and utter pussification of the American male in America. And by God, all you got to do is look around you and observe. And that has definitely come to pass. So that's why I'm simply stating to everybody out there that loves this country, if you truly love this country, you will vote Republican, because they are the last remnants of anything Americana in the political spectrum today. Everything else on the left is anti-American, anti-Americana, anti-constitutional republic, anti-capitalist. That's what these fucking people are on the left, and we're not going to have anything. We're not going to accept it. And we shouldn't accept it. And I'm glad the president is calling out this damn Honduran caravan. You mean to tell me that these people are just taking it upon themselves and trekking across Guatemala to Mexico to the United States border and they're not getting any help? Get the hell out of here with that crap. Get out of here! But believe me, by the time this caravan gets to the U.S. border, it's going to be election time, and guess what the Democrats are going to do? Oh, my God, I can't believe Donald Trump separates immigrant children from their parents. Oh, my God. I can't believe it. You're a monster. Oh, my God. Hey, what about American children, Democrats? What about American children? You see, folks, this is what you got to emphasize. These Democrats care more about immigrant children than the American children that are starving, that are being left alone, that are being abused, that are being molested in this country. What's wrong with that picture? How can Democrats represent America when they don't give a shit about America? How can anybody vote for Democrats when they don't care about this country? They don't care about the law-abiding citizens of this country. How the hell can anybody vote for these pieces of crap? How? I don't get it! Jesus Christ! I don't get it. I don't get it, folks. I don't get it. It makes me sick every time I turn on the boob tube and see a bunch of fucking headless, mindless morons actually acting a fool in America. You stupid morons, don't you understand that in any other country, you would not be able to conduct yourselves in the way you're conducting yourselves here in America? In another country, Rosie O'Donnell, once she would have said that on national television, that there needs to be the military to go into the White House and remove Trump, she would be thrown in jail and executed. If she said that against Putin in Russia, if she said that against anybody, makes me sick, folks. Makes me sick. Look, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself here, but once again, I'm glad the president has highlighted this Honduran caravan that should be reaching the U.S. border conveniently around midterm election voting day time. And, of course, mark my words, folks, mark my words, the Democrats are going to be, oh, look at what the president's doing. He doesn't care. This is not our American values. Oh, he's separating the children from the immigrants. That's why I keep saying, man, these fucking Democrats don't care about law-abiding citizens. They care more about immigrants. How can anybody elect a Democrat with this fucking mindset? I don't get it. I don't get it. Let me move on to another subject matter, okay? Let's talk about something else, all right? Let me talk a little bit about the president's tweet, was it Wednesday? About Stormy Daniels. Did y'all hear about that? This became a meme all over the internets, man. Anyway, the president, in a tweet, called Stormy Daniels horseface after a federal judge throws out the Avenatti Daniels case out of court because it's a waste of time. And not only that, the judge orders Stormy Daniels to pay for the court costs and lawyer fees of Donald Trump. And I wonder if Avenatti is going to, take some of those $1,000 suits that his cue ball ass always wears and is going to help Stormy Daniels pay for that damn thing, huh? You going to help pay for the court costs and the lawyer fees for Stormy Daniels here, Avenatti? You've exploited this woman enough. But the reason I bring this up is because I like the president just going right at the jugular of his enemies. He's willing to fight fire with fire, and it's so beautiful to observe as a political observer, to say the truth. I'm being completely honest with you. I mean, the triggering that the president did when he referred to Stormy Daniels as horseface is priceless. I mean, it's priceless. I mean, CNN and their panels were talking about this for hours. Horseface. Oh, my God. This guy's a madman. I'm telling you, aside from him making America great again, what makes his presidency so enjoyable is that he's not afraid to go right at his enemies, right at the jugular, and, he doesn't care what the hell happens. You know what I mean? You're not gonna make Trump look stupid. He's gonna make you look stupid playing his game. And, just like Rush Limbaugh said, I hate to keep referencing Rush Limbaugh, but I was really surprised that, Rush Limbaugh was so woke. I'm not a big listener of Rush Limbaugh. But, he said that the left is so pissed off. They're so pissed off that, Trump is getting by calling them names and making them look stupid while America laughs, and nothing that the left can do is as effective. And it's pissing them off. It's driving them insane. It's driving them to the verge of lunacy. I mean, they can't game Donald Trump. And look, they go at him in the most vicious sorts of ways. They go at him in slanderous and libelous ways, and yet it still does nothing to the president, and it upsets them. It pisses off the left. That's why all they have left on the left is violence. I mean, they've tried all the games that Donald Trump plays. They can't beat him at his own game. It hurts them. The salt on the wounds are burning so much that they can't hurt Donald Trump in the same way that he hurts them. That's why they're calling for violence. And this is the observation of Rush Limbaugh. I have to agree. Man. Anyway, let me move on to another subject matter here. Now, what did I tell you about this Rod Rosenstein situation? Remember, I said that the president, when he met with Rod Rosenstein, he probably put Rod Rosenstein in a very precarious situation and said, look, Rod, McCabe, Comey, all these guys on the FBI side are trying to throw the ball on you as being the grand conspirator of this conspiracy to remove me from power. Now, I could probably bet that Trump already knows all the intelligence on this, and he's telling Rod Rosenstein that he was used as a tool by the FBI, and he's going to be the fall guy if he doesn't start doing certain things. And that's why Rod Rosenstein still stays as the Deputy Attorney General of the Department of Justice, and it's because the president is just, once again, 5, 6, 7-dimensional chess, man. He is playing the mafia's game, if you will. You keep your friends close, but keep your enemies closer. And that's what he did to Rod Rosenstein. And I told you guys, when everybody was looking cross-eyed at this situation, I said, wait a minute. He's probably putting Rod Rosenstein on blast and is probably forcing Rod Rosenstein to be a rat on the people that he thought he was going to conspire with to remove Trump from office. And what did I tell you? I said that what's probably going to happen here in the next week or so is we're going to see Robert Mueller come winding down on his Russia-Trump investigation. And guess what fucking Robert Mueller said today? Huh? Robert Mueller signals that the Russia-Trump investigation could wrap up just after the midterms. And you know what? You've got the mainstream media. They're already setting up Democrats for disappointment on this Robert Mueller. I guess he's just going to put out whatever he's conducted in his interview or in his investigation. But like Donald Trump has always said, there's no collusion. That's why he let all this stupid bureaucratic game continue on. They found nothing. The only thing they found was that elements within the Department of Justice and the FBI utilized and politicized their positions in an attempt to remove a duly elected president from office. That's what it's proved. That's what everything has proven thus far. And I knew that when the president met with, Rod Rosenstein, he wasn't going to sit there and play nice with him. He's going to say, look, Rod, either you're going to fall down for all this because of McCabe and Comey and Orr and all these people, or you are going to do something to help me. And it looks like that's the case. Once again, Robert Mueller signals that the Russia-Trump investigation could wrap up after the midterms, just after the midterms. This, of course, is but a week and a half after the president not only met with Rod Rosenstein. Remember, he took Rod Rosenstein to that speech in front of the associations of police chiefs and even talked about it during the speech that Rod Rosenstein went there and took the trip with him and whatnot. So I'm telling you, folks, Trump, 5, 6, 7-dimensional chess, man. I'm telling you that right now. Now, even though this may be happening in the behind the scenes, so to speak, that Rod Rosenstein is now kind of using his influence and his power as Deputy Attorney General to bring the Robert Mueller investigation to a halt, to potentially throw some of these people that conspired against the president into a bad situation. You still got calls from Congress for Rosenstein to step down. And the reason is, folks, is because the FBI's lawyer, and look, remember, this is coming from the FBI's lawyer. He had testimony today in front of a House Intelligence Committee, and after the testimony, the congressman came out and said, after this, Rosenstein should step down immediately. Because according to the FBI's lawyer, James Baker, he's testified and said that it was Rod Rosenstein himself that suggested this usurping of the presidency by suggesting to wear a wire and suggesting to co-opt some of the president's cabinet, to remove the president from office. So this is the FBI's defense, folks. This is why Rod Rosenstein right now is being called to step down by congressmen, because they heard the FBI lawyer's James Baker's testimony today. And of course the FBI's lawyer is going to throw the whole goddamn blame on Rod Rosenstein because he's the FBI's lawyer. He's got to protect everybody in the FBI from being prosecuted. He's got to protect James Comey. He's got to protect Andrew McCabe. He's got to protect Peter Strzok. He's got to protect Lisa Page. He's got to protect a lot of corrupt people out there in the FBI. And that's why they're trying to throw the blame on Rod Rosenstein. I'm going to be honest with you, folks. Does Rod Rosenstein look like some grand conspirator to you? Does he look like somebody that would be respected as a leader in a grand conspiracy? No! He looks like a four-eyed fucking legalese nerd, okay? That's it. He's a four-eyed legalese bureaucrat. I mean, you think somebody's going to listen to him? You think he has any idea? Just look at the man, for Christ's sake. Jesus Christ. I bet you this guy's wife, if he has one, forces him to watch her getting done by black guys. He looks like that kind of guy, all right? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. But once again, I told you guys that once the little meeting that happened with Rosenstein and the president, all right, I told you that this Robert Mueller investigation was going to come to an end. And that's because the president is using the system against itself. Five-dimensional chess once again, all right? Anyway, let's go ahead and get to some real black operative news here. Let's talk a little bit about Jamal Khashoggi. Now, remember, folks, I told you that this Jamal Khashoggi thing was going to be used as an attempt to drive a wedge between the United States and Saudi Arabia. And, you know, the more and more time goes by, you're starting to recognize, I hope, if you've been observing the news, that Ghost is right. You know, there is a certain black operative CIA element to what's going on with this Jamal Khashoggi here. Okay? I mean, why is there so much emphasis in the mainstream media over this? Why are media people asking the president, what's going to happen to Saudi Arabia? How are you going to punish Saudi Arabia? You even had Lindsey Graham come out on Fox suggesting that the removal of Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman should be removed. You had John Brennan, the ex-CIA director during the Obama administration, who was part and very privy and connected with the Wahhabist faction of the Saudi family, coming out and suggesting the same thing. Now, what we have here, folks, is I've been suggesting this for a minute, and I know people are like, Ghost, are you serious? How do you know all this stuff? Don't worry about it, first off. And secondly, I hope that as time and as events have unfolded, you're starting to recognize that there is a rogue element of the CIA that is currently trying to sabotage the new policy of the CIA. And what is the new policy of the CIA? Well, first and foremost, folks, we as the United States and our black operatives, we're no longer doing business with the old vanguard of Saudi Arabia. You all have to understand that this current kingdom in Saudi Arabia is not the same Saudi Arabia during 9/11/2001. The kingdom during Saudi Arabia 2001 was a completely different system. It was a completely different family. There were Wahhabists. And you see, in this reshaping of the global order, Trump has made a deal, a pact with the Saudi Arabians. Because we need the Saudis, we need the Egyptians, we need these factions in order to fight against the old global order that attempted to usurp the entire globe. Now, I don't think it's a coincidence, folks, that our president has turned his back on every international institution, from the United Nations to the World Court, etc. And the reason is, folks, is because this president is not for the global order that has been shoved down our fucking throats for the past 100 years. His presidency has thrown a monkey wrench into that concept. Now, the reason that we're partnering with Saudi Arabia is because Saudi Arabia, the United States, plus Egypt, we are trying to rid the world of Wahhabism. And Wahhabism is this wild Yehudi jihadist mentality that has fueled much of the terrorism throughout the Middle East. And as I stated, folks, it was the Wahhabist faction under King Abdullah, who was the previous king in Saudi Arabia, that basically perpetuated this Islamic terrorist idea. I mean, lest we forget, folks, Saudi Arabia, they funded the madrasas in Pakistan, which created the Taliban. They funded the Taliban. I mean, how do you think that the Taliban got a hold of those Toyota trucks and those weapons? I mean, the old faction of Saudi Arabia funded the madrasas in Indonesia. They funded the madrasas all over. They were the ones that funded the jihadism all across the world. And folks, that element of the Saudi Arabian family, the Wahhabist faction, is gone. It was purged by Mohammed bin Salman, folks. It was purged by Mohammed bin Salman. So this new Saudi kingdom is not the kingdom of old. That old kingdom was purged. All you got to do is Google Saudi Arabian purge and take a look at all the names that were purged from the Saudi Arabian kingdom. And you'll notice that the bin Laden family is one of them. I'm just saying. Now, Jamal Khashoggi, let's be honest, and I think they're finally starting to admit it in the Saudi Arabian level, that Khashoggi may have died during a fight of some sort, of some kind of scuffle in the consulate of Saudi Arabia and Turkey. So that, I believe, is the current narrative that the Saudi Arabians are going with. But who cares about this Jamal Khashoggi bastard? I mean, folks, if you look back, and look, I'm going to keep reposting this until it gets into everybody's fucking head. Look at that repost on my Gab. There's the article in which it shows in definitive written proof that Jamal Khashoggi was integral in propagandizing the Arab youth during the Afghan-Russian war, inspiring them to come from Saudi Arabia, Syria, Egypt. I mean, how the hell did all these Arab youths get from the Middle East, these countries like Saudi Arabia, these countries like Yemen, these countries like Syria, how did they get from there to Afghanistan? Afghanistan wasn't a Muslim country. As a matter of fact, Afghanistan was pretty tribal with Pashtun tribes and all those other tribes that are mixed up in there. They were inspired by Jamal Khashoggi. Jamal Khashoggi is a master propagandist that literally galvanized the Arab world and induced the Arab youth to go and do jihad in Afghanistan. It's right there in the article that I just posted on my fucking Gab. Take a look at my Gab if you don't believe me. This guy, as you can see in this article, take a look at that upper right-hand picture in that article. That is, you know who that is right there? That's Abu Abdullah, a.k.a. Osama bin Laden. Osama bin Laden. Don't you understand that Jamal Khashoggi was the man that created the narrative of Osama bin Laden? He created the narrative through these stories, through these journalistic bullshit articles that he would write. It was Khashoggi that invented the legend of Osama bin Laden, or Abu Abdullah. I mean, folks, this guy, Khashoggi, is so connected with the Wahhabist faction of Saudi Arabia, it's sick. And listen, the reason he was a Washington Post contributor is because, folks, I've said this time and time again, the Amazon creator, Jeff Bezos, I mean, folks, it's a meme on the internet that he's a CIA operative. I mean, his Amazon cloud services provide services for the CIA. And once again, if you're subcontracted by the CIA, you are CIA. And why do I bring up Bezos? Because Jeff Bezos owns the Washington Post. And Jamal Khashoggi, at the time he died, he was supposedly a contributor to the Washington Post. Now, what was he contributing? Folks, they just recently, here today, released his latest article and it was subversion against the Saudi Arabian kingdom. He was trying to galvanize the Middle East just like he galvanized them to go into the Afghan-Russian war in the 80s. He was trying to galvanize the Middle East to commit an uprising against Mohammed bin Salman and the current royal family in Saudi Arabia. And he was utilizing his influence. He was utilizing his stature amongst the Arab and Muslim community. He was utilizing his stature amongst intelligence agencies to be able to do this. And this is why, folks, Khashoggi was killed. Khashoggi was killed because he was a complete and utter operative for ex-CIA elements that were for the Wahhabist element. All right? I mean, that's all there is to it. He's a Wahhabist. He was for the Mujahideen. I mean, he's the guy who propagandized it. I mean, give me a break, man. Jesus Christ. Give me a fucking break. Jesus Christ. And I'm going to be honest with you, folks. I mean, I just can't believe that we have the mainstream media crying over this man like he's some sort of fucking, lost to society. This guy created the Islamic terrorist idea through his stupid fucking propagandized articles. He was the one that convinced Arab youths to go out and commit jihad in Afghanistan. He was the guy that inspired the Mujahideen, which ended up turning into Al-Qaeda, which ended up turning into ISIS. Now, as I've told you in many, many shows, that the new CIA mission under Trump, the new CIA directive, is to no longer utilize the Mujahideen assets, which we created, folks. All this Islamic terror, you have to know, was created by us and the CIA. We were the ones that funded these guys during the Afghan-Russian war. We're the ones that gave them their training. We're the ones that gave them their weapons. We're the ones that gave them everything. That's why they belong to us. And that's why after 9/11, and let me tell you, folks, if you don't believe 9/11 was something done from the inside, and I'm not just talking about the United States government, I'm talking about a collaboration of governments, then you've got another thing coming. Let me just give you, look, I don't want to play like I'm a conspiracy theorist here, but this is all documented stuff. Everything I'm about to tell you is documented. You can look it up for yourself. Why do you think after 9/11, it was but maybe 5 days to a week after 9/11, that you had Rudolph Giuliani refuse to shake the hand of Saudi Arabia's Al-Walid? Y'all remember that? Y'all don't remember that? I remember it like it was yesterday. Saudi Arabia. All right, Al-Walid came down right in front of Ground Zero with Rudolph Giuliani for some kind of a press PR photo. And Giuliani refused to not only shake the hand of Al-Walid, but he refused the $20 million check that Al-Walid was going to give to supposedly the city of New York. Now, why did Rudolph Giuliani not shake the hand of Al-Walid? Why did Rudolph Giuliani not accept the $20 million? Because, folks, Rudolph Giuliani knows what happened. He knows what happened on 9/11, and he can't say anything or he risks getting killed. As a matter of fact, folks, let's just be honest, okay? They tried to kill Giuliani on 9/11. Now, why am I saying this? Because, folks, the Department of Emergency Management was in Building 7. And lest we forget, Building 7 was the building that came down after the Twin Towers. Now, if you don't believe me, why don't you take a look and remember? For those of you that were alive back then, I hope that you remember this picture when Rudolph Giuliani was walking the streets with a mask over his face, with the commissioner of the NYPD, Carrick, because, folks, truth be told, The commissioner of the NYPD saved the life of not only Giuliani, but everybody else that was there at the Emergency Management Center at Building 7. He saved their lives. That's why there's photos and video during the fucking attack, during the 9/11 attack, of Giuliani walking the streets looking stunned with Carrick and all the other people from the city trying to find safe haven. I mean, I'm telling you the truth, folks. That's why Rudolph Giuliani refused to handshake al-Walid. I mean, I remember that like it was yesterday, man. I mean, Rudolph Giuliani refused to shake al-Walid's hand in front of the fucking cameras. Refused to take his $20 million. Because Giuliani knew that not only were the Saudi Arabians involved, but let's be honest. I mean, let's lay all the cards on the table. Obviously, a black operation within our government that, in my personal opinion, was headed by George H.W. Bush, not George Bush Jr. George Bush Jr. was an unfortunate collateral damage. He's lucky he wasn't, Angel is next. Let's just put it that way. But the American black operation on this side of the globe was definitely headed up by George H.W. Bush. The Saudi Arabian intelligence were definitely involved in this, because who was out here on CNN right after 9/11 trying to say that Saudi was not involved and that Osama bin Laden wanted to give this a Saudi face and all this other shit? None other than Bandar Bush. Bandar Bush. And why is Prince Bandar called Bandar Bush? I've said this over and over and over again, because Prince Bandar was head of the Saudi intelligence. And guess what? Who was the head of the CIA for a long period of time? George H.W. Bush. So they had a very, very close relationship, to the point in which Bandar would go on vacations with the Bush family. That's why they would call him Bandar Bush. Bandar Bush, look up those old clips if you can find them. Bandar Bush was on CNN, MSNBC, saying, it's bin Laden's fault and all this other crap, trying to deny any association with the Saudi kingdom, even though they were a part of it. They didn't direct the actual attack, but they were a part of it. And guess who else was a part of it, folks? NATO. And let's not forget the Mossad. Now, there's a lot of reasons why the Mossad was involved. Y'all heard about those Jewish guys that were cheering during the 9/11 attack that were taken into custody. I don't know if y'all read about that. I don't know. That's been swept under the rug of history. That you had Mossad agents like camped out in a goddamn van with the vantage point of the damn Twin Towers going down, and these guys were cheering. And they were taken into custody and conveniently released and left to Israel. Aside from that, folks, the only buildings that went down on 9/11/2001 were buildings that were owned by none other than dual citizen with Israel and the United States, Larry Silverstein. Do you understand that? Any building that was owned by Larry Silverstein went down that day, folks. I mean, give me a break. Okay? Give me a fucking break. Now, I'm sure you're asking yourself, well, Ghost, how did all these people keep a secret? They didn't. You have to understand there were a lot of people that had to die because this operation came to fruition. It was a pact. I mean, let's take a look at what happened after 9/11. The war of civilizations. The consolidation of power. Totalitarianism on every goddamn continent. The war on terrorism, etc. I mean, take a look at what has happened from 9/11 to now. Take a look at the restructuring of the Middle East. Take a look at the migrant crisis that is now gentrifying, or I should say ethnically cleansing, the European Union. Take a look at all these things, folks. This is why this was this was justified, because there needed to be, what did they say in the Project for a New American Century, or PNAC, project for a new American century? A new Pearl Harbor. They needed a new Pearl Harbor, and they've got one. Now, why am I bringing this up? Okay? I'm bringing this up because the black operatives and the CIA elements that were involved with not just 9/11, but everything post 9/11, they are against the current CIA policy of utilizing our jihadist assets, which is, believe it or not, folks, our jihadist assets are blowing up shit all over the world. I'm going to get to some of that here in a minute. But they're not attacking the United States anymore, which was the policy of the old CIA, which was the policy of the old Saudi kingdom, was to use elements of this Mujahideen, Al-Qaeda element to basically strike U.S. interests, strike U.S. citizens, to perpetuate the war on terror. Because technically, folks, if you can continue to prove that there's terrorism all around you, this war on terror can go on forever. And the whole reason why they wanted the war on terror to go on forever is to incrementally bring in globalism, incrementally break down any kind of freedom, take control of the world in a unionized capacity, etc. Now that we have, I'm talking about Donald Trump's administration, a new pact with a new element of the Saudi family that hates the element that conducted the 9/11 attacks with the CIA, with the Mossad. I mean, this is a completely different Saudi royal kingdom. And that's why you've got all these media outlets, which are all CIA agents anyway. Look up Anderson Cooper. He was a fucking CIA agent. They recruited him in college. Buck Sexton, Mary Harf. I mean, all these people are ex-CIA. These are all talking heads on the media. Why are they overemphasizing this Jamal Khashoggi death? Because it is in the interest of the CIA or the rogue elements that were involved in the 9/11 attacks and the war on terror in the Bush Jr. administration and the Obama administration. They don't like the new directive given to the CIA. Because now you're witnessing ISIS fighters show up everywhere that are against the United States foes. We saw ISIS take responsibility for an attack in Iran, in their border, during a military parade. We're seeing ISIS strike Chechnyan targets out there in Chechnya. And we're seeing ISIS fighters everywhere all over the globe, folks, that are out there basically committing terrorism on our foes as opposed to the United States, you know? And that's because there's a new policy in town. The new policy is that we are not going to utilize these agents, which, let's be honest, folks, that's what most jihadists are. They're agents of our black operations, of our CIA. We're not going to use them against the United States and its interests anymore. We're going to use them against our foes. And, you know, the element that helped 9/11, the element that was perpetuating all these falsehoods of, war on terrorism, they don't like this new policy. And this, what you're seeing right now, we are witnessing classic CIA political subversion. And they are utilizing their media interest. They're utilizing their CIA and other interests and other reputable personalities to justify the fact that we as American foreign policy need to do something against Saudi Arabia for killing Jamal Khashoggi, the man that created the legend of Osama bin Laden himself. Now, lest we forget, we're supposed to believe that Osama bin Laden did the 9/11 attacks, right? So if we're supposed to believe that Osama bin Laden did the 9/11 attacks, why do we give a shit if Jamal Khashoggi is dead? I mean, seriously, why the hell do we give a shit that Jamal Khashoggi is dead if this guy created... And look, I'm giving you on Gab right now the article that helped galvanize the Mujahideen and inspired a bunch of Arab youth to go from Syria and Egypt and Saudi Arabia to Afghanistan so they could fight the fucking Russians. I mean, there it is right there. And look, Jamal Khashoggi in that article is there holding up a rocket-propelled grenade, for Christ's sake. And this guy's supposed to be an angel? We're supposed to punish Saudi Arabia for this guy? I think people need to wake up and see what's going on here. There's black operations, CIA operations happening right before our eyes, and nobody wants to open up their fucking eyes and recognize it. Serious, for Christ's sake. And by the way, if we're supposed to give so much of a crap about Jamal Khashoggi, how come we're not talking about the former head of Interpol? Remember that guy? I talked about him a couple of weeks ago. The former head of Interpol, well, actually, he was the head of Interpol until China kidnapped him. Well, now, Meng Hongwei, the former head of Interpol, is now being presumed dead, according to many people that are close to him, his wife, Interpol themselves, etc. How come we're not pissed off at China? How come we don't hear the same amount of uproar that we're hearing about Jamal Khashoggi? How come we're not hearing that here about Meng Hongwei, the former Interpol head, who was kidnapped in China, and no one's ever heard from him again? How come we're not talking shit about China on this? How come it's all Jamal Khashoggi? And not to mention, folks, the media is claiming that Jamal Khashoggi was a fucking United States citizen. How did we get this asshole citizenship when he created the fucking legend of Osama bin Laden? Good God, man, wake up! Wake up! There's black operations happening everywhere, folks. That's why I brought up Meng Hongwei. Meng Hongwei was the head of Interpol, got kidnapped by China. Remember, I talked about that a couple of weeks ago. Now he's dead. How come we're not talking about him? I'm telling you, folks, black operations are everywhere. And this Jamal Khashoggi is nothing more than an attempt by the CIA and other rogue elements of the CIA and black operations to drive a wedge against Saudi Arabia and the United States. I like Mohammed bin Salman. And why do I like Mohammed bin Salman? Because he's a young guy, and when you're young and in your young 30s like he is, no one's going to respect you unless you demand respect. Unless you demand respect, and that's what he's doing right now. He doesn't have much respect. He did the purge on his family, and he knew that if he did the purge, there was going to be a lot of people against him, and he's getting rid of those enemies. Hence Jamal Khashoggi. All right, killed, chopped up in little pieces. I told you that's what happened. And if I were Mohammed bin Salman, I would have killed Jamal Khashoggi too. All right, how you like that? How do you like that? If I were Mohammed bin Salman, I would have had Jamal Khashoggi killed, chopped up in little pieces, and never heard from again. This guy, Jamal Khashoggi, was trying to utilize his journalism, quote unquote, in an attempt to galvanize the Middle East in an uprising against the current Saudi Arabian kingdom. Why? Because Jamal Khashoggi is a Wahhabist. He's a Wahhabist. Read his fucking articles if you don't believe me, for Christ's sake. And speaking, let me move on because I'm running out of time here, but speaking of black operations, remember that limo that crashed 2 weeks ago in upstate New York that killed 20 people? Remember that? Well, the NTSB, the National Transportation and Safety Board, is being denied access to the limo involved in the fatal crash that killed 20 people. Now, how you like that? This is a federal agency that is supposed to, dissect and try to figure out crashes when it comes to airlines and major crashes that causes major death. This is a federal agency, the NTSB. And it is being denied access to the limo involved in the fatal crash that killed 20 people in upstate New York 2 weeks ago. What did I tell you about this weird crash that killed 20 people in upstate New York in this limo? I told you somebody in that limo, I believe, we're starting to believe it was Alex Steinberg in our opinion, but somebody was meant to be killed in that accident. And I said that was pure black operations because the limo was going 60 to 70 miles an hour from witnesses' testimony, or from witnesses' statements, I should say. It was going 65 to 70 miles an hour, blasted past a stop sign, and hit a parked car. Huh? Killed all 20 people in the limo. Now, once again, don't you think it's kind of fishy that the NTSB is being denied access to the limo involved in this fatal crash? The National Transportation and Safety Board? I mean, NTSB is always first on the scene when it comes to any kind of major crash with major fatalities of this capacity. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Anyway, look, we are now in the third and final hour of the True Capitalist radio broadcast. And of course, I am your host, the man they call Ghost. And once again, I want to thank you very much for tuning in with me. Before we get started on anything else, I'd like to remind everybody to please spread this show link around like wildfire and let everybody you know across the internets and throughout the world, let them all know that True Capitalist Radio is in effect and in the house. And once again, we are live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Texas U.S. time, right here on the official website of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast. And once again, I love being independent now. Type this in your browser, add this to your bookmarks, add this to your favorites. The following, ghost.report. That's all you got to type in your browser. Add it to your bookmarks, add it to your favorites. Ghost.report is the official website of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast, all right? And by the way, if you have not already done so, get yourself a free Gab account and follow me on Gab. It's my only social media representation on the internet today. And you can follow me on Gab under the name Politics Ghost, okay? All one word, no underscores. Politics Ghost is the name to follow on Gab. And I want to say what's going on to the True Capitalist Radio chat room. Happy Bowler Friday, baby! I want to give some shout-outs to those in the True Capitalist Radio chat room. What's going on to Billy Cossack? What's going on to BP? What's going on to Capitalist America? What's going on to Hawk Late Milk, Herb Capitalist, Holden Capitalist, Ice Cap in the house, Metaform, Nat in the place, Pepe the Frog, Stagio, the God of Rage, TN Apostle, Capitalist America, Prince in the house, Pepe the Frog. What's going on to Hans Uberlander, Metaform in the place? What's going on to Hoodie? What's going on to everybody out there that's listening to the True Capitalist Radio chat room? How you doing, man? And if you want to be a part of the True Capitalist Radio chat room, then all you've got to do is the following. All you've got to do is go to my Gab account right now and click the subscribe button for premium content, all right? That's all you got to do. Go to my Gab right now, Politics Ghost, all one word, no underscores, and click the subscribe button for premium content. It's as simple as that. And once you do that, private message me on Gab. Private message me on Gab and let me know your Discord chat name, and I will send you back in the private message an exclusive invitation to the True Capitalist Radio chat room. It's that damn simple. And before I move on, I want to remind everybody, if you like what you're listening to right now, if you appreciate the content, then go to ghost.report and click the cryptocurrency wishing well and go ahead and throw something in that wishing well. Not only will all your dreams come true, but you will also be helping sustaining the continuity of this broadcast. Much fucking props to everybody out there. And look, they're on the way. All right? Production notes are on the way, okay? And by the way, if you happen to throw more than $25 in cryptocurrency, in the cryptocurrency wishing well, I'm sending you some production notes, all right? So I've got everybody who's they're going to be in the mail tomorrow, all right? Well, tomorrow's Saturday, I guess Monday, all right? Who knows? I know. I've been procrastinating, but my apologies. Hey, I'm a capitalist, baby. I mean, the fucking holidays are around the corner. I got brick mortar businesses, man. I got to worry about all kinds of crap, including this show. So please bear with me, man. Anyway, before I announced the top of the hour, I do want to reiterate that the NTSB has been denied access to the limo involved in the fatal crash that killed 20 people in upstate New York 2 weeks ago. Now, don't you find that kind of coincidental? Now, the local prosecutors are claiming that they are denying NTSB access because the limo is, quote, evidence. What? The fuck you talking about? The limo is that? What the hell are you talking about? This is the NTSB, the National Transportation Safety Board. They probably have more experience than you figuring out what the hell happened to the damn limo. I've never even heard of such a thing. That's why the NTSB is being denied access. Local prosecutors claim they're denying their access because the limo is evidence. Now, another thing that I find very, very interesting, folks, is because, and I'm going to say this because I've always said that this particular limo crash was a black operation. We don't know who it was the target of that particular limo. But, folks, I broadcasted right after the limo crash that a man by the name of Shahed Hussein was the owner of Prestige Limo, and that he was the one involved in the operations of this limo service that killed these 20 people. And I announced on that broadcast that Shahed Hussein was used by the FBI as an informant. He was an FBI informant used to entrap people in the United States into domestic terrorist situations. Now, I would strongly advise people to check out who the Newburgh Four were. The Newburgh Four. Shahed Hussein was the guy, the FBI informant, that entrapped the Newburgh Four. As a matter of fact, Shahed Hussein was used in this capacity in many different instances to justify the war on terror. You see, it all goes back to that war on terror, folks, remember? He was used during the Bush Jr. administration and the Obama administration to entrap United States citizens so that they can, let's be honest, from what I heard, and I've actually heard about all these scenarios, Shahed Hussein would go into poor cities and he would approach mostly people of color, let's just put it that way, and suggest to them that, hey, look, I hate America, but I got $100,000, I got $200,000. I'll give it to you if you take this bag and put it in front of here, or if you do this, or you drive this car here and you walk away, whatever. All right? And this guy was just going up to random people, putting himself into social circles and propositioning people in the United States, entrapping them into these terrorist situations. And every time the FBI would arrest these people that they entrapped, they would justify it and suggest that it was Al-Qaeda related, that it was domestic terroristic related, that Al-Qaeda had operatives in the United States that the FBI stopped. This is who Shahed Hussein was and what he was used for. Once again, this was the owner of Prestige Limousine, who was the proprietor of the limousine that killed these 20 people. Now, Shahed Hussein did this many times for the FBI. And you know what, folks? I don't know if you know this, but if you're an FBI informant, you get paid. You get paid by the FBI. And guess what? Shahed Hussein used his money that he received as an FBI informant to purchase the Crest Inn suites. Once again, I'm going to say this one more again. You can look all this up, by the way. I mean, I do my investigating, baby. That's why everybody listens to this broadcast, because this is the straight political dope here. But Shahed Hussein used his money that he received as an FBI informant to purchase the Crest Inn suites. And believe it or not, the Crest Inn suites is where his limousine company resided. Prestige Limousine. Now, why do I bring this up? Because he's not the one being charged. He's not the one being arrested. No. Prosecutors are charging Numan Hussein, not the FBI informant Shahed Hussein. Now, lest we forget, folks, all right, I want you all to remember something here. That if there's a black operation, things like this, anomalies like this, are going to show up prominently, and there is no other explanation other than what it is. I mean, how many more connections do you need with the guy who owned the company, who owned the limo, to the FBI than an FBI informant? And how come Shahed Hussein isn't attempted to be extradited back to this country so that he could stand trial? Who the hell is Numan Hussein? Who the hell is this? Who the hell is Numan Hussein? Now, why do I bring this up? Because once again, the NTSB, National Transportation Security Board, or excuse me, National Transportation Safety Board, is being denied access to the limo involved in the accident that killed the 20 people. Now, has there ever been a precedent where local authority, for whatever reason, didn't want to release evidence or didn't want to give federal authorities evidence or kept evidence private? Well, lest we forget, folks, remember the NYPD and the FBI, either they colluded together or they intentionally tried to deny each other, whatever the case might be. But lest we forget NYPD and FBI, remember when they kept those files on pedophile Anthony Weiner's laptop a secret? Remember that? I remember that. Remember they found files on the fucking stupid, disgusting Democrat pedophile Anthony Weiner's laptop? Remember? You remember, Huma Abedin was this idiot's wife, and yet nothing ever came out of that Anthony Weiner laptop. We still don't know what was in that laptop, because the NYPD seized it, and for whatever reason, it was never released. It was never even used. The only thing that was used to prosecute Anthony Weiner was the photographs that he sent via text message to a minor. So this is what I'm telling you, folks. This kind of cover-up is not uncommon when it comes to black operations like this. And wouldn't you like to know what was in the Anthony Weiner laptop that the NYPD and the FBI have kept secret up to this point? I'm just saying, folks. I'm just giving y'all the 411 on what's going on here, man. You're just hearing the straight political dope. Whether you want to accept it or not, it's completely up to you. I understand if you don't. I understand if you're a little scared for some reason. You're like, I don't know, Ghost. This is kind of cloak and dagger, it's kind of scary stuff. I don't know. I don't blame you, man. I don't blame you. Anyway, let's get to some goddamn international news while we're at it, all right, folks? Now, the reason I want to get to some international news is because I got a lot of it on my production notes, first and foremost. But secondly, I definitely want to get to something that I've always been critical of, and I'm talking about Vladimir Putin. Folks, Vladimir Putin is currently running scared, as attacks on Russia's interest have him now blaming globalism as the culprit. Can you believe that? We got Vladimir Pooty-Poo blaming globalism because he's being hit up because he thinks he's some big badass Ruski or some crap. Now Vladimir Putin is blaming globalism. What happened, Mr. Big Badass Vladimir Putin? He's fucking running scared, for Christ's sake. And if y'all haven't heard, a lot of things have been happening to Russian interest as of late, okay? I don't know if y'all heard, in Crimea, an 18-year-old killed 20 people, wounded 40 or 50 people in the area of Russia-controlled Crimea in the Ukraine. Now, an 18-year-old by the name of Vladislav Roslakov, whatever the fuck this Ruski's name is. Anyway, he was a gunman that went into a Crimean university, or Crimean college, I should say. He used a shotgun and homemade bombs in this attack to wound and, murder so many people. Now, believe it or not, even though this 18-year-old obviously acted alone, I don't know how he was able to produce all these bombs and how he was able to just plan and strategically attack this Crimean college to inflict so much damage, given the fact that he was just one lone gunman with, some homemade pipe bombs and a shotgun. Vladimir Putin claims that 18-year-old gunman Vladislav Roslyakov, or whatever the hell his name is, had help in planning this attack, alluding that a state power had to have helped this particular kid pull off this mass attack. Can you believe that? You get a little fucking paranoid there, eh, Vladimir Putin? Get a little paranoid there? He can't believe that it was an 18-year-old, futuristic Eric Harris, Derek Klebold out here conducting himself in a capacity like, Columbine at this Crimean college. He's suggesting that state powers had to help plan this kid attack this college. I'm not even kidding. And look, you got Vladimir Putin dead serious about this. Even though he has the whole goddamn shooting under surveillance, we've seen the camera footage. It's this blonde-haired looking fruity kid with a shotgun. And reports say that he was actually going into rooms at this Crimean college, throwing pipe bombs into the room and shooting anybody that attempted to leave. So, pretty rowdy stuff, to say the least, and hence, you've got Putin suggesting that it was a state power that helped this kid. What a fucking pussy, Pootie Poo. But yet, in the same speech, when he gave the comments about the Crimean college attack in the Ukraine, in the same speech, Putin announced that ISIS took 700 hostages in Syria. I told you that ISIS was going to be used against our foes, against our enemies, no longer against the United States people and its interest. Those that used these jihadi interests against America were the jihadists and the Wahhabists of the old Saudi kingdom, man. And now we've got ISIS fighters. I'm telling you, man, they're all over the place. They are hitting up the interest of Russia, of Iran, and soon China. All right, don't watch. There's going to be a massive terrorist attack either in the China's mainland or China's interest because of the Uyghur crackdown in China. But I told you, baby. All right, Putin announced that ISIS took over 700 hostages in Syria. Now, Putin cannot publicly admit that it was Russia and Assad's forces taken in the hostage. Because remember, Russia was supposed to be done with the military theater in Syria. Remember when Putin ordered a pullout of Syria back in December 11th of 2017? That was his mission accomplished moments, right? December 11th, 2017, mission accomplished. He declared victory in Syria. So he can't afford to let the Russian people know that he still has, not necessarily Russian troops in there, but he has Russian mercenaries in the region of Syria. And it is against the law in Russia to utilize mercenary forces. And yet you've got Putin defying his own domestic laws, leaving mercenary Russian troops in Syria. That's why you had Putin announce this in the same speech. He was in Sochi at some fucking event. He announced that ISIS took over 700 hostages in Syria. And when asked, a Pentagon spokesman was asked about these 700 hostages that were taken in Syria. A Pentagon spokesman referred to Vladimir Putin's suggestion as, quote, fake news. I mean, come on, man. This is why Putin's running scared. He's running scared because we're fucking catching him with his fucking stupid Ruski mouth-breathing hand in the cookie jar. All right, he's bitten off way more than he can chew. Let's first and foremost recognize that. He's bitten off way more than he can chew. Remember that hypersonic missile that he supposedly had? And when he showed, I guess, an example of it, he showed like some 2-bit graphic that was supposed to scare the United States, for Christ's sake. He doesn't have shit. He doesn't have no hypersonic weapon. He doesn't have shit. He's a fucking phony. That's what Vladimir Putin is. He's a phony. So that's why he had to announce that 700 hostages were taken in Syria. Now, he claims that there were some United States and EU citizens taken in this hostage situation. But once again, the Pentagon spokesman calls Putin's claims fake news. I'm telling you, man, Putin's running scared. Remember, he can't admit he has mercenaries in Syria because it's against the Russian domestic law to use mercenaries for any type of war capacity. It's against his own law. And he can't admit that he still has troops in Syria because it goes against his mission accomplished statement back on December 11, 2017. Remember? Hey, we pulled out of Syria. Mission accomplished. He can't. He can't. He's running scared. And on top of a lot of interest of his abroad being hit up with terrorist acts, with mass killings, etc., Putin is also facing major protest in his own country on a daily basis. I'm telling you, man, Vladimir Putin is on borrowed time as far as I'm concerned. I don't see the tenure of Vladimir Putin going on much farther. I mean, he has been having on a daily basis protests against his rule. They don't like him. They don't like Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin hasn't done shit for Russia. You know what Vladimir Putin has done? He's done good for Vladimir Putin. That's why the son of a bitch is worth $140 billion. Why? Because he stole it like a filthy, fucking, disgusting communist. He stole that $140 billion. He's a fucking crooked thief. He's a commie. He makes me sick. And I'm telling you, I don't think Putin has much left. I mean, his own people don't want him. Do you know that certain Russians during a protest wish Putin, quote, many long years in jail for his birthday earlier this month? Did y'all know that? That doesn't sound like a man that's loved by his people. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't sound like a man who's all down and gung-ho for his people over here. And I'm telling you, folks, the only thing keeping Putin with any kind of credibility is the international media. I keep saying this. I mean, no one in the world respects Putin right now, especially us and our operations militarily against him, black op and conventional. Not even his own people like him, man. Nobody likes him. The only thing keeping him with any kind of credibility is the international media. That gives him just enough domestic credibility to stay in power. Because remember, these Russians, they got a hard-on for Mother Russia, you know? And whenever they see the international media calling Russia these dangerous hackers and dangerous international hackers and dangerous international this, and I mean, it puts Putin at a higher level than he actually is. I guarantee you, if we as the international media stop giving fucking Vladimir Putin any kind of attention, he'd be removed from power faster than you can say vodka. All right? But no, for whatever reason, we've got the domestic media of the United States continuously pumping him as if he's some kind of a grand leader. He's a fucking commie piece of trash. $140 billion from stealing it from people. You commie piece of crap, man. How Vladimir Putin has dodged so many goddamn assassination attempts is beyond me. But somebody over there in Ruski land has to have the balls and do something to this stupid, dumb moron. And by the way, when Vladimir Putin dies, who the hell's going to inherit that $140 billion? Who the hell's going to inherit all that shit? Anyway, folks, let me move on, folks. All right, let's talk a little bit about the trade war with China. The trade war with China is causing friction during the Defense Secretary James Mattis's visit to China. Mattis met with his Chinese counterpart, General Wei Fenghe, or I think Wei Fenghe, or some shit like that. I don't know, these fucking rice eaters' names, for Christ's sake. Anyway, for about an hour and a half. Now, the talks, according to Mattis, were described as straightforward and candid. Now, according to both sides, they discussed the South China Sea, and, but they didn't really see any sign of progress. Now, lest we forget that the South China Sea has now become a very contentious area of Asia, and it all goes back to the trade war. Now, why is the president, Donald Trump, throwing such a hardcore trade war with China? Because like the president has always said, we built China. We have such an imbalanced trade deal with China, it should be illegal. We give, on an annual basis, $600 billion in trade deficit on an annual basis to China. I mean, who framed this goddamn trade deal? And you see, now that the president is wanting to renegotiate the trade deal, and now that he's gotten a little bit of a whiff of where the Chinese are coming from, now you have the president playing hardball. Because from all reports, the Chinese are begging for some kind of a deal with the United States. But it is now President Trump, and he even says it at all of these rallies, he says, I don't think China's ready for a deal. I don't think they're ready for a deal. And the reason why Donald Trump is emphasizing this is because it's been too long in which we have literally given hundreds of billions of dollars on an annual basis to China. And like Trump said, like I've always said, we built China. We built those cities. We built those buildings. We, the United States consumer. We created modernity for China, and they have no respect for the American people. And that's why we have a president that wants to put America first, and that's why the president is putting the goddamn Chinese with their backs against the walls and their little schlong heads in the dust. And they don't know what to do. I mean, have you seen the Chinese economy lately, folks? It is very precarious. I mean, that's why you have Xi Jinping, the Chinese president, consolidating power. Because once this house of cards of economy comes crumbling down, when it comes crumbling down on the Chinese, he's going to have to consolidate power so that he can maintain the legitimacy of the communist government of China. That's why right now Xi Jinping, the current president of China, has the same power as Mao Zedong when Mao Zedong was alive and in power in China, for Christ's sake. Can you believe that? Unbelievable. But once again, James Mattis was trying to talk to his counterpart, General Wei Fenghe, for an hour and a half on the South China Sea talks. Once again, the talks were described as straightforward and candid. But even though there was discussion on the South China Sea, there was no sign of progress. Mattis came out after the meeting and said that the United States will not be intimidated on the South China Sea. We will not be intimidated on the South China Sea. And Mattis has urged the United States, Japan, and South Korea to work together against China on the South China Sea issue. Now, what is the South China Sea issue, folks? South China Sea issue is the fact that China believes the whole fucking South China Sea is theirs because it has the word China in it. Okay? And they have since, for the past several years, many years as a matter of fact, have built an artificial island in the middle of the South China Sea to intimidate any country that borders the South China Sea. So as a result, the United States has gone out there in many different capacities to observe what's going on in the South China Sea, and there's been a lot of close calls. There's been a lot of close calls. As a matter of fact, the USS Decatur went within 45 feet from crashing into a Chinese vessel in the South China Sea. I mean, none of them wanted to move. I mean, it's getting that contentious. And it all goes back to trade. Because China knows that it is nothing without the United States. And that's what Donald Trump is trying to spank into these goddamn egg roll eaters. He's trying to tell them, hey, we're over here, we're blindfolding you with dental floss, you stupid dumb zipper heads. If you had any kind of common sense, you'd understand that you dumbasses can't survive without our economic situation, without us buying your shitty products. You're not going to be able to survive, China. So you are going to have to renegotiate here on this trade deal. You're going to have to renegotiate. And now that China, it's taken them a minute, now that they want to renegotiate, now you've got the art of the deal master himself, Donald Trump, saying, you know what? They want to come back, they want to negotiate. I don't think they're ready to negotiate. I don't think they're ready for a goddamn trade deal. Oh, man, I love this president. I'm telling you right now. I mean, do you remember prior to the election of 2016? Do you remember that time right before that election? Remember when Russia was claiming that it was going to confront us with nuclear war? Remember when China suggested that they would confront us with nuclear war and all this shit? You don't hear that crap anymore, huh? You don't hear that crap now that we've got a president that is flexing United States nuts. You don't hear that crap anymore. And that's why I'm saying, folks, that's why the midterm elections in 2018 is so important. If you want America to remain dominant in the international community, if you want the greatest economy in American history, if you want low unemployment, by God, you and everybody you know need to go out and vote Republican, man. How anyone can vote Democrat is beyond me. Unless you hate this country. That's the only way you're going to vote Democrat, folks. Those are the only people that are going to vote Democrats, are those that hate America. Because why else would you vote Democrat? There is no platform over there on that side. There's nothing but resist and hatred and impeachment and violence and all this other shit. There's no policies over there. There's nothing that they're advocating that's going to help anybody. They're just giving you abstract promises. Oh, we got to help people on their health care. We got to help people do this. We got to help people. All a bunch of abstract crap. And the reason that they want to give you shit is the same reason why they put socialism in Europe for the past 30 years. Folks, socialism, when you're given everything for generations, it turns you into feeble nothings. And that's what's happening in Europe. That's why Europe cannot fight against this incursion of migrants that are taking over each and every country of Europe under the guise of refugeeism, of being a refugee. That's why the domestic population, the male domestic population of Europe, doesn't have the cojones anymore, doesn't have the balls to stand up to these battle-hardened, bloodthirsty, head-chopping Yehudis that they accepted in their country that are pillaging their lands and raping their women. Socialism did that. Socialism made Europe docile. Socialism made Europe a bunch of pussies. Socialism made people blind. And look, remember, these folks in Europe were allowing these Yehudis in with open arms. Remember that? It's not as if even the people of Europe were throwing any kind of shade towards these goddamn migrants. They were opening up their goddamn country with open arms. And how did the Yehudis repay them? You're looking at it. You're looking at it. Taking over their countries and raping their women. And why are the authorities not doing anything about these refugee Yehudis raping women in Europe? Because, folks, this is all a centralized communist plan. It's a centralized communist plan. Because what does Yehudis raping women accomplish? It forces races to merge. It eliminates cultures. It eliminates borders. So that there can be a new Europe, a new one Europe that comprises all of the European Union. There's no longer any boundaries to nation states, no cultures, no races separating anybody. They are ethnically cleansing. They're creating a new race. That's what Europe's doing, damn it! They're creating a new race. So there is no Norwegians, there are no Swedes, there are no Europeans, there are no French, there are no Germans. There's just Europeans. These mixed breed mulattoes. And you know, I don't think it's a coincidence, folks, that in 2020, Democrats, all they have running is a bunch of mulattoes. Ethnically ambiguous mulattoes. I mean, do you understand what I'm saying? I mean, do you think Barack Obama was an accident? Ethnically ambiguous mulatto? Look who they have. Look who the Democrats have running for 2020. Cory Booker? You couldn't get any more ethnically ambiguous mulatto than that guy. You don't know whether he's black. You don't know whether he's fucking Vin Diesel's ass crack. You don't know nothing. And yet he claims to be Jewish. Look it up. Cory Booker claims to be a Jewish man. What is this, Kamala Harris? What the hell is this broad supposed to be? I've got an article of her when, let's be honest, Kamala Harris, she's got a lot of skeletons in her closet. All right, I mean, when she was the district attorney of San Francisco and when she was the attorney general of California, she aided the archdiocese in covering up child molestations. And by the way, let me go ahead and repost that article. Here it is right there. Look at that picture right now on my Gab of Kamala Harris. She looks like a white woman. She's trying to portray herself as a white woman in this photograph. And now that she looks like an old, worn-out, bureaucratic hag, now she's the, ethnically ambiguous mulatto? I'm going to be honest with you, folks. Listen, I have nothing against anybody. But now I am questioning mulattoes everywhere I go. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to question mulattoes' motives because it's been nothing but mulattoes that have advocated nothing but anti-American trash, that hate their own races. I mean, just take a look at Barack Obama. He was a fucking ethnically ambiguous mulatto that threw the entire black race in America back politically, economically, and socially 40 or 50 years. I mean, more blacks were on unemployment. More blacks were on welfare. More blacks were at the lowest points of American statistics during Barack Obama's tenure. I mean, we got to wake up, folks. We got to wake up. And look, it's nothing racial hatred. It's just mere observation. Why is it that these mulattoes hate the country? Maybe because every time they look in the mirror, maybe they hate themselves. I'm just saying. And this is the kind of racial makeup they want predominant in the goddamn European Union. That's why they allowed these wild Jehudis to come in mass. 3 million Jehudis to come into the goddamn European Union. Wake up! Wake the hell up! Anyway, I didn't mean to get off on that soliloquy about that subject, man. Let me move on to other subject matters in the international news, because there's other things to talk about. Now, did you all hear that the Afghan elections are pushed back a week after the Afghan police chief, General Abdul Razik, was killed in a Taliban attack? Now, if y'all are not familiar with this Taliban attack, the media is claiming that U.S. Commander Army General Scott Miller narrowly escaped the insider attack. Now, according to reports, it was an insider attack when the governor of Kandahar province and the police chief of Afghanistan and a couple of other advisors from NATO with the U.S. Commander General Scott Miller were in this room, and they were, well, not necessarily they, it was the governor of Kandahar and the police chief that were targeted in this terrorist attack. Now, what did I tell you about the Taliban? I told you that the Taliban, we as Americans have given them a new ultimatum. We have suggested that they either integrate themselves with the government of Afghanistan or they themselves have to physically take over Afghanistan again. Now, the reason I say that the media is claiming that U.S. Commander Army General Scott Miller narrowly escaped the insider attack because he was in the room when the attack happened. The funny thing about it, that Scott Miller, General Scott Miller, has said to the media here today, early this morning, that, quote, he was not the target of the attack. How the hell does he know? I'll tell you how he knows, folks, because he's directing all this. I mean, this is a new... I told you that we are trying to establish a diplomatic line of communication with the Taliban, and we have told them that, look, either you integrate yourself with the government or take control of the government. And by doing this inside attack, by killing the police chief, Abdul Razik, it shows that the Taliban is pretty much integrated within the government already in a very secretive capacity, because the attackers were actually the governor of Kandahar province's bodyguards. They were the culprits of the attack. Now, once again, Taliban claims responsibility, but you notice they didn't kill the general. They were killing the authorities of the propped-up government of Afghanistan. That's why General Scott Miller so confidently, even though he had a couple of guys blown away right in front of him, he confidently said that he was not the target of the attack. And once again, why are we establishing a line of diplomacy with the Taliban? Because, folks, we are reestablishing a new foreign policy. You see, we're going to stay in Afghanistan, but we want to make sure that we're no longer domestically fighting with the population of Afghanistan. And we would like to use the Taliban because, folks, ISIS has miraculously showed up in Afghanistan. I don't know if y'all know that. ISIS has miraculously showed up. And they're not friendly with the Taliban either. But what is going to happen is the Taliban is either going to integrate itself with the current government or it's going to take it over. Either way, the United States isn't going nowhere. We just are tired of fighting a bunch of stupid Yehudis. And it's time for them to prop up their own government after 17 years! 17 years we've been in this fucking war! 17 years! That's why General Scott Miller said nonchalantly, look, I mean, this is a guy who was in a room that saw 2 or 3 guys get blown away. He said, no, I wasn't the target for it. I think everything's all right. I'm not the target for it. Wake up, folks, all right? Only right here on True Capitalist Radio will you get the straight fucking political dope like you hear. Because, folks, nobody's telling the straight political dope. They're just giving you a narrative. As a matter of fact, nobody really wants to know this truth. Everybody just wants to believe what some fictitious talking head is saying. This is the truth right here. I mean, if you're a foreign policy maker, you have to know these types of things. So, it's very interesting what's going to happen in Afghanistan. Because, remember, this terrorist attack has pushed back the goddamn elections in Afghanistan for a week. They were supposed to happen this weekend. But because the chief of police, Abdul Razik, and the Kandahar governor of Kandahar province are dead, they decided that they're going to postpone the elections until next week. Let's see how that transpires, shall we? And last but not least, let's talk a little bit about the Catholic Church, huh? That's right. Let's talk a little bit about the Catholic Church. Now, the reason I'm bringing them up is because Pope Francis's accuser who has accused Pope Francis of covering up the massive child abuse situation in Chile and a couple of other places. Carlo Maria Vigano, that's the accuser of Pope Francis, he blames the church's sex abuse scandal on, quote, the scourge of homosexuality. I'm not kidding! I'm not kidding! I mean, that's what Pope Francis's accuser, Carlo Maria Vigano, blames the church's sex abuse scandals on. The scourge of homosexuality rampant amongst the priests. Now, I mean, I want to be honest with you folks. I don't really care what anybody does in the privacy of their own home sexually, but I hate to say this. When it comes down to homosexuality or the LGBTQ movement, it always reverts back to children to some capacity. I mean, it's not good enough that these fucking LGBTQ people can go poshole each other legally all over the place. I mean, it's not good enough that they can go and have oral copulation between two men across the street from an elementary school and have it protected by the First Amendment. That's not enough. No, they want to sexualize your children. And why is Carlo Maria Vigano blaming the scourge of homosexuality? Because, folks, in my personal opinion, this whole LGBTQ stuff is a joke. All right? I mean, if you get drunk one day and you do some kind of freaky sex, that should not define you as a human being. Anyone who defines themselves based upon their sexuality is nothing more than a used-up cum dumpster. For a lack of a better term, I'm sorry to be so fucking vulgar. But that's what they are. If you're going to define the whole being of your human existence based upon how you like to fuck, then what does that say for the content of your character? And if what you do, if your prime directive of living is partaking in these types of sexual acts, and that's all you do, well then where is it going to lead to other than to the most perverted areas of sexual depravity? Bestiality, fucking the dead. We're seeing that now since gay marriage has been legalized. And of course the sexualization of children. It all comes back to that, man. I hate to say it, but it all comes back down to that when it comes to these homosexuals. It all comes back down to that. That's why, folks, in New York, they're having drag queens with horns on themselves reading to your children. At 5, 6 years old. How you like that? That's the Democrat way. That's the leftist way. Having some poshole drag queen read to your children. How you like that? Telling them that they can be a poshole too. Anyway, look, I didn't mean to get off on that LGBTQ bit, but, I mean, once again, I don't doubt that Carlo Maria Vigano's assertion that a lot of the sexual abuse comes down to the scourge of homosexuality amongst priests. I wouldn't doubt that for the world. I mean, just take a look at what happened here in America once we legalized gay marriage. Once we legalized gay marriage, folks, that slippery slope that the LGBTQ said wasn't going to happen, it happened, all right? It happened. Now people are screwing the dead, bestiality, people are banging inanimate objects now. I heard some broad getting married to some roller coaster or some shit. I mean, this is where we're going. We're going to more than one. Oh, there's more than one gender. Yeah, there's sexually androgynous, and there's pansexual, and there's two-spirited, and give me a fucking break, man. Oh, yeah, there's gender X. That's right, my mom, she birthed me in New York, and she listed me as gender X. X, as in triple X, as in sex, yeah. Yeah. I mean, come on, man! God damn it! And by the way, I hate to reiterate this once again, but how come there hasn't been any authorities from any goddamn country raiding the Vatican, raiding churches worldwide. How many children have to be sexually assaulted and sexually molested before enough civilized countries start raiding the archdiocese, raiding the Vatican? I mean, this is what needs to be done, folks. I mean, how much more are we going to allow the Catholic Church to get away with this stuff? You know, I keep bringing up the Branch Davidians in Waco because the Branch Davidians in Waco, folks, were raided by the ATF on the accusation, with no proof, the accusation that David Koresh was having sex with his teenage followers, which was a fucking lie. It came out later on, years later, in a congressional fucking investigation that it was all a bunch of horse shit. But hey, the ATF were willing to go in there guns blazing. Remember Warren Jeffs? That guy, you know, the polygamous guy? Warren Jeffs had his own little polygamous situation out here in Texas all alone. And it was alleged, and look, to be honest with you, I think Jeffs actually did it, but either way, Warren Jeffs was alleged that he had, and ended up becoming convicted of, having sex with his minor flock in his goddamn polygamous cult. And you know, the federal government went in there, and not only did the federal government go into his compound, the federal government rounded up all the women in that compound, and who the hell knows what happened to them? Who the hell knows? Y'all remember that? Y'all remember that footage where they showed all those women being put into a bus with those frontier dresses? Y'all remember that shit? I'm just saying, man, how come none of this has happened to the Vatican? How come none of this has happened to any of these churches that are ran by the Catholic Church anywhere across the world? How come we're not throwing massive amounts of priests and bishops and cardinals in jail? How can the Catholic Church still have followers after all the unearthing of this sick, demented pedophilia? How? And folks, if you just trying to convince yourself that, oh, well, Ghost, this is just the Catholic Church of today. They weren't always like this. You fucking idiots. They've been doing this for centuries. They've been doing this for centuries. I think even Martin Luther wrote something about that. These fucking goddamn Catholics were a bunch of pedophiles. Jesus Christ, man. They've been doing this for hundreds of years, and it's got to stop, folks. You know, every time we catch them, every time we catch the Catholic Church, they just have some kind of a bullshit meeting and say, oh, we're not going to do this again. I'm the Pope, the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost. Little boys' assholes we hate the most. We will not be child molesters. No, shut the fuck up. Shut up, you whore of Babylon! That's what the Catholic Church is! It is the whore of Babylon! Give me a fucking break, man. They're the only fucking church. You know, the Catholic Church, angels. Oh, pray to an angel. I see an angel, angel, angel. Stupid morons. Did you know that angels were the fallen angels of fucking Satan? And yet the Catholic Church is like, pray to an angel and angel's wings and yay! And let's throw some smoke on you and holy water and I got a pointy hat on my head. I got a pointy hat on my head, and if you look at it at the right angle, you'll realize that it's a fish head and that I'm worshiping the fish god. Yeah, I'm worshiping the fish god. Yeah. I'm worshiping the fish god until the age of Aquarius. Jesus Christ. Because right now I'm worshiping the fish god, Pisces, yeah? Until the age of Aquarius. Aquarius! Ah, Jesus. I'm done. I'm fucking done. It's Baller Friday, for Christ's sake. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. Stick a fucking fork in me. I'm fucking done with this crap. Jesus Christ. You know, I can't wait to get a beer. You know, I can't wait to get a beer. Anyway, folks, listen. Every time you hear this broadcast, it's the straight political dope. And I want you all to know that every time I do this broadcast, you're going to be hearing things on here that no one's going to tell you. Why? Because no one wants to know the ugly truth of the world. No one wants to know that the basis of this world is evil. Everything has to be evil. I mean, just take a look at how your food is served to you. You have to kill and eat other living organisms in order for you to have enough nutrients and energy to survive. It's sad. I mean, but it's the reality of the truth. It's the reality of the fact. And that's why, folks, people live, people die. That's why there's wars. Because the people that are in charge of this world understand that there is nobody above the human being on the food chain. There's no other animal above the human being on the food chain. So how are we supposed to sustain ourselves as a human race? Well, you got to figure that on your own, but I'm sure now that I'm telling you the realities of the world, I'm sure you're understanding that now. I'm sure you're starting to get it now, all right? Anyway, folks, I want to thank you very much for tuning in with me on this Baller Friday edition of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast, And I'm going to be in the chat room here in the next 25 to 30 minutes. All right, I'm going to go have a few beers, unwind, and then I'm going to get on the chat room and hopefully have some good old-fashioned tomfoolery on the internets with the True Capitalist Radio chat room. I do want to remind everybody, please spread the word about the True Capitalist Radio broadcast. This broadcast is purely political underground, baby. If you're listening to the sound of my voice, then you are listening to the political underground. You are listening to the political underground. I guarantee it. And by the way, if you want to sustain the continuity of this broadcast, all you've got to do is go to ghost.report. All right, that's the official home of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast, ghost.report, and click the tab that states Cryptocurrency Wishing Well. Click the Cryptocurrency Wishing Well tab and throw some cryptocurrency into the wishing well, and not only will all of your dreams come true, but you'll also be helping sustain the True Capitalist Radio broadcast. And I really want to thank everybody who has been throwing some crypto into the cryptocurrency wishing well. You guys rock. I remember they've been banning me from everything. They banned me from transaction companies, social media companies, because, oh, I'm dangerous. That ghost dude, he's a fucking dangerous dude. He's a dangerous man, and we got to stop him. We got to stop him. So once again, I want to thank each and every one of you who have thrown some crypto into the cryptocurrency wishing well. All of your dreams will come true, baby. All of your dreams will come true. And by the way, you'll be sustaining the continuity of the broadcast. Anyway, I am going to get off of this particular broadcast. If you want to come chill with us tonight, in the True Capitalist Radio broadcast chat room, then follow the following instructions. Go to my Gab account right now. Go to my Gab account, Politics Ghost, all one word, no underscores, Politics Ghost is the name to follow, first of all. And secondly, once you're there at my Gab, at Politics Ghost, click the subscribe button for premium content, baby. Click the subscribe button for premium content, and once you do, private message me on Gab. And let me know your Discord chat name, and I will private message you back with a private invitation to the True Capitalist Radio broadcast chat room. It's that damn simple, baby. All right, it's that damn simple. Anyway, folks, I want to thank you all very much for tuning in with me on this Baller Friday. I know that many of you all could be doing other things, but you're listening to yours truly, and I want to thank you sincerely from the bottom of my heart. Once again, I apologize for not having a show on Wednesday. We're not going to make that a habit, folks. All right, we're not making that a habit. I will be back Monday, 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Texas U.S. time. All right? Right here on the official website of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast, ghost.report. Ghost.report is the official website of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast. Make sure to spread that link throughout the internets and throughout the world. Make sure to spread it around like wildfire, okay, folks? Because if you're listening to this broadcast, you are listening to the underground, baby. Anyway, I am out of here. I am going to be in the True Capitalist Radio chat room here in about 25, 30 minutes. So be patient. I'm going to, get a couple of drinks. I'm going to unwind. I just did a fucking 3-hour show nonstop. Who does that? Who does 3-hour show, no fucking breaks, talking right through like it ain't shit, besides this man right here who's been doing it for 10 fucking years? You're goddamn right. Anyway, I'm out of here. I hope to see you Monday, 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Texas time. Until then, death to feminism! Death to socialism! And death to communism! You're goddamn right, boy. I'm going to be drinking with the True Capitalist Radio chat room tonight, baby. And I can't wait. Happy Bowler Friday. I am out of here. I am out. Woo!